I have so much shit to say about this Super Bowl, and
Well, you're
as
always
soon as
bitching.
dude, I was about to say this. Let me finish. Let me finish. As soon as the Eagles were dominating and they won the Super Bowl, I was like, phenomenal. And then an hour later, I was like, God damn it, the Chiefs scored 22 points. They're going to find a way to weasel about how this game was closer than it actually was. And then 2 hours later, you get clips of there were some questionable calls in this game against us. I think that they heavily impacted the way this game played out. Like, bro, you were down 40-6, and you want to be like, it's not even that. Here, let's go back a week. Yeah, honestly, I don't understand why the media is bringing up the referees. They're doing a fine job officiating our games. There's nothing going on. We only won by 3 points because we're better than the other team, clearly, and you're just being crybabies because of it. But then we're gonna go get smacked 40-22, was it? 40-22, and then we're gonna be like, yeah, actually, it was the ref's fault that we lost. So I'm sorry, but we're three-peating. We three-peated, honestly. I think that's what happened. We three-peated. Go
Moral
Chiefs.
victory. They had the moral
Like,
victory of the night.
this is the most insufferable franchise of all time. I don't care. I know there were scandals with the fucking Patriots. I get it. This was not what happened. The Patriots didn't bitch about something and bitch about something and bitch about something and then take the exact stance that they were bitching about.
Burfy and I can both agree
Um,
that this is not close to what the Patriots did. The Patriots engaged in several different cheating scandals, including cheating scandals that occurred when they didn't even win the Super Bowl that year. Yeah, that's a really slippery slope for a take. But
here's my take on the Chiefs versus Patriots thing, right? And to me, it's very simple. The thing with the Chiefs are the fans. The fans are insufferable. I agree with that.
Yep.
The Patriots as an organization and the fans were insufferable. To me, it's not close.
No, as an organization, the Chiefs are fucking insufferable too. You can't say that Travis Kelsey. Oh, by the way, Travis
I'm
Kelsey.
more so front office, not players. Players always,
Okay,
especially,
players. The
you
Chiefs
know.
take players wise. The Chiefs are way fucking worse than the Patriots. Fans wise, I'll give you the Patriots are right there with them.
I
But
could
players
not stand
wise,
Gronkowski, bro. I could not stand Gronkowski, bro.
Kelsey is worse. Kelsey is 10 times worse.
They're
It's not even
both
fucking
they're
close.
both brain dead tight ends, bro. Just
I
the
think,
average tight end.
well, I think Gronk is an idiot, whereas Kelsey is just kind of turned into
A moron. He's a
a pompous
moron.
asshole.
Yeah.
You know,
Kelsey's a dick. Fuck that guy.
yeah,
Your
and it,
quarterback is scrambling for his life, and you're standing still for 7 seconds straight. Fuck you, dude.
yeah,
Yeah, that was lame as hell.
that doesn't
That was
look
lame as
good.
hell.
But one thing that we've known about Kelsey for his entire career is that he's not a good blocking tight end. Like he's a glorified receiver playing the tight end position, and not saying he hasn't been dominant at that thing that he does. He's very good at that thing. Now he's also been like intensified or magnified hit under Mahomes. Like Mahomes has kind of created the legacy of Travis Kelsey that we think. He was a good tight end before, even great at times, but when he became truly elite was when Patrick Mahomes took over the offense in 2018, 2019, 2020. But yeah, the effort
Just about
thing,
to fair,
and
yeah.
it was the whole game. It wasn't just that moment, but there again, he was
I
missing a ton of
know.
blocks. They sometimes just needed him to chip a guy off the edge. One of the blitzers off the edge. He couldn't do anything, and
Mm-hmm.
that spoke about the actually it couldn't have been a blitzer in this game because the Eagles didn't blitz a single time and they were still dominant with their front
Which
four.
makes it worse, right? Which makes it worse.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah,
Well,
that was tough.
my issue is people are like saying that he should have been blocking on that play. He shouldn't be blocking. He should be looking to get open.
Yeah,
That's literally what he's done
Just
all
anything.
season is get
Literally
open.
any
doing
some
anything,
sort of
not
effort.
instead of
That
just standing there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that man
no,
has been
no.
inexplicably open so much this year. And the second that a defense covers him, the Chiefs' offense is in shambles.
Yep.
It's actually it makes no sense. Also, fuck the
Because
Chiefs for just saying Isaiah Pacheco is the RB2.
Yeah.
He's better than Kareem
yeah,
Hunt. It's stupid.
I know, right? Just
Like
my 2 cents on what you just said about Kelsey and him being open at this stage in his career. No doubt, Kelsey's a very very smart tight end. Everyone knows his strength is finding a weak spot in the zones, but he's especially in this stage of his career, he's not a fast tight end. right? If you just run man on him, he's not going to be open. It is literally that simple.
Yep.
It is literally that simple. If you put a man on him, he's not going to be open. Like he's super slow off of breaks.
And it
You
was
know?
working. It was working against the Bills, but the reason that the Bills lost that game ultimately, and the Chiefs ended up keep scoring in the second half, was because of Kyer Elam. Literally, just because of whoever Kyer Elam was covering, they were getting open because he was that bad in man.
Yep.
Everybody else did
It
their
was
job
one
in
of
that
it
game.
was one of the rare, not rare cases maybe, but one of the rawest maybe cases of an injury that truly affected, like at a non-quarterback position that really affected a team. Because
Yep.
when a receiver gets hurt or a tight end gets hurt, you can sometimes suppress it because it's really fit dependent. But when it comes to a talent dependency, especially, I mean, such a cornerback is
the
such a
Chiefs
depleted
literally.
position.
How
Such
many
a
three and
depleted
outs did the
position.
Chiefs have in a row with Benford in? I can't remember how early he got
When
injured,
did
but
when did Benford?
I thought it was in the first quarter. Like, it was really early.
Yeah, it
And
was early. It was super early.
and he was just coming off of an injury or like concussion protocol or something against the Ravens as well. Like,
He wasn't supposed to play the
yeah,
game, right?
yeah,
Like he just played it because he
exactly.
had
yeah,
to.
he was a last second in.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Benford should be in everybody's top 5 cornerbacks of the NFL for this season.
Benford is a
That's all
dog.
he
I'm
was
saying.
fantastic. Yeah.
I'm a Benford guy. Obviously I hate the Bills, but objectively he's one of my guys in the NFL.
Yeah.
Now, I'll just give my 2 cents in the Super Bowl, and because the one thing I said to Anthony earlier this week, and there's always has to be a narrative, always has to
Yep.
be something that people have to say, like, oh my God, look, this happened, so we have to say it. This thing with the GOAT discourse is closed, dog. They have the exact same Super Bowl record at the exact same age as Mahomes is right now. How is it closed? How is it shut? Obviously, Brady is still the GOAT. And where you put Mahomes, it's to each their own. But to say that it's closed,
I'm in favor of it being closed because one, Mahomes is not gonna. He's already shown signs of regression. One, it could just be. Let me clarify. It could just be a bad season for him.
I'm listening. Don't worry.
I say bad season. He's like a top 16-ish quarterback, still mediocre.
Pedestrian. Middle of the pack.
Yes, I'm willing to say this is close because I have zero faith in him to produce and win Super Bowls without Andy Reid. For one, how long is Andy Reid going to be around too? And what is his receiving talent going to be like without Kelsey? Because Kelsey's not even talented anymore. I mean, he's talented, but like his production isn't. It shouldn't be what it is. But they clearly have such a good connection that he's still a massive asset in that offense. So when Kelsey retires, how is he going to handle that? How is he going to handle Andy Reid retiring? And on top of that, in 5 Super Bowl games, he has less than a third of what Brady has in 10 Super Bowl games as far as passing yards, passing touchdowns, and he already has more interceptions than Brady had in 10 Super Bowls. So in half the amount of games, he's thrown for more interceptions and less than a third of his stats on the productive side, the good side. I just don't see him, and this is a guy who's supposed to be the stats god. I don't see him being anywhere near the GOAT.
Now
Because
listen, I'm not saying that you're wrong in thinking that he's far from Brady. It's not easy to get where Brady got, right? And there's a lot of, like you said, you know, for the very near future, there's plenty of negative signs for Mahomes to get there. But I think to say that it's officially closed, it's such a harsh thing to say. I think because Mahomes is still young. Like we don't know what
he's
happens in
almost
the NFL
30.
from one day to the other. Yeah, but I mean, for a quarterback,
Quarterback
especially
prime.
how he
Yeah.
plays. Yeah, I mean, he's still got
You can
at
talk
least
quarterback
7
prime,
good
but
years.
a lot of what Mahomes' prime is based on is being overly athletic, having an insane arm, and kind of that insane luck. Not insane luck, because I don't want to say it's all luck. He's obviously immensely talented. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. But a lot of his production is on the what the fuck plays and not necessarily the in rhythm plays. I don't know, because he's going to have to make a huge adjustment in his career when he hits 32, 33, 34, and he starts losing a little bit of that athleticism. He's going to have to make a massive adjustment to his play style, or he's not going to produce at the same level. And the fact of the matter is, Tom Brady produced at this level for 17 more years. What Mahomes is at, Tom Brady produced 17 more years of after Mahomes. Like, Mahomes would have to do this for 17 more years to last Brady's longevity. not let alone his production at that longevity. I just don't see it.
Again, I don't disagree with anything you said, and I think it's completely fair. I just think the wording of it, it's not an absolute statement. That's how I see it. I think it's unlikely that he does
It's
it.
not impossible, but I also it's lazy, and I know Anthony agrees with me on this too. It's lazy to say anything is possible and a way of justifying predictions, because like you were criticizing on Twitter with Kurt Benkert's
Oh my god.
top
We'll
20
talk about
quarterback.
that later. We'll
It
talk
was
about
a
that later.
really bad list, but yeah.
My god.
I,
It's a really bad list, and I gave him slack because like theory of impossibility. There's nothing is impossible until it happens.
Yeah.
So I guess that's lazy thing on my end. I was at work, so I didn't really engage with it too much. Reviewing it, I probably would engage more. But like Anthony said, it's a lazy thought to say anything is possible, and I think it's a pretty lazy thought to be like, oh well, if Mahomes keeps up this trajectory, he's going to end up being better than Tom Brady in said category. I think that's a lazy thought because expecting him to even remotely come close to the production that he had in his first 3 years is pretty lazy, given that he hasn't been able to replicate even his first 2 seasons in his last 5.
Yeah, and the art of prediction is not a diagnostic science or anything like that. And so really it needs to come down to probabilities. It's the same thing of in any given Sunday argument when you pick an upset in your weekly pick'ems. You're picking an upset because you have a feeling, right? Or maybe there is a matchup that might get exploited. But generally speaking, if you pick the better team, you're more than likely going to be correct in your prediction. And so it's just such a fine line to tread when talking about stuff like this. And with career projections, it's so difficult too. When we talk about anything is possible, it's also possible that Mahomes breaks his leg next season and has a career altering injury, and he's never the same player. He's never even close, right? That's what makes it such a difficult discussion. And that's why a lot of people, which I do understand this perspective, a lot of people are talking about where they were at this point. It took Brady 14 years to get to 5 Super Bowls, win 3 and lose 2 of them, the same record that Mahomes has in 7. And so there is that element of it as well, where he's doing everything, he's on a trajectory that can be compared in certain ways to what Brady did, but he's doing it in half the time so far. So there are things like that to consider as well when you discuss this whole thing. But you're right, Barufi. We talked about the narratives. There's so many narratives, and one of my biggest issues with the Super Bowl in general, and why I didn't want anybody to win, even though I was rooting for the Eagles to not, to prevent the three-peat. But the discourse, regardless of who won, was going to be agonizing, and it is. I mean, nobody can. At least this is what I said on Twitter. It feels like 90% of sports talk people, analysts, and everything, all the like, they cannot even produce a rational thought right now because they are so engulfed in what they thought 5 years ago, even, and what the narrative is carrying them through their own career of entertainment. And it's become such a big problem that a guy like Dan Orlovsky is now basically being pushed out of ESPN for being correct in a lot of things. Dan Orlovsky, yes, good for him. Dan Orlovsky is a really good analyst, I think. I think he's very smart. And he's oftentimes...
He's probably the best retired quarterback at analyzing.
Yeah, and most of the time he's been correct where his colleagues have been incorrect. He was actually, and again, I was wrong with this too, having, saying that Jaden Daniels was going to be the best rookie this year and the number 2 in the class. What happened? He was laughed at for that prediction back last March. And what happened this year was that Jaden Daniels was the best rookie quarterback in this class. He was the number 2 overall selection, and he made it to the NFC title game.
We all disagreed with him on that too.
Yes,
but we can acknowledge that we're wrong. It's a crazy attribute.
Yeah,
and it's wild. The only narrative to have out of the Super Bowl, I've made the statement Mahomes isn't the GOAT. it's not open and shut, I guess. But it's a dumb narrative to cling on to based on this game specifically. The narrative out of this game should be we just witnessed a historic defensive performance in the Super
Yeah.
Bowl on all three levels. Even though I was gonna say the linebackers didn't really do much, Zach Bond had a fucking diving interception in the
Fred
red zone, like
Warner-esque,
his
yeah.
opponent's red zone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we witnessed a pick six by a rookie on his birthday.
Tweet
That's a
and
cool
go.
narrative.
Sorry.
That's a that's a cool narrative. He fell way too fucking far. I know Anthony was talking about that on Twitter. We also witnessed 6 pressures from one person who also had 2.5 sacks. Fucking amazing performance, Josh Sweat. On top of the rest of the D
I mean,
line
Daniel
being
Mitchell.
absolutely phenomenal.
Mitchell allowed nothing. Locked down the whole game.
Mitchell, you talked
The
about
only narratives that we
Sweat.
can have are
No, go.
how dominant this defense was. Vic Fangio should be getting every fucking praise possible. I know Broofy mentioned that he should be given credit for Super Bowl MVP
yeah.
at one point in the Discord. As
If
coaches
if
win
if
it,
yeah,
Vic
I would have
Fangio's
given him a vote
guy.
if possible. Yeah.
My team gets Kellen Moore, so that's another narrative to have. I mean, fuck yeah, Saints. God damn it, why did we sign Brandon Staley? But this should be
yeah,
focused on
please
how
have him.
good the Eagles defense was at shunning one of the quarterbacks who, albeit mediocre this year, is supposed to be the second greatest quarterback of all time currently. This is historic. And
It was
to
sort of.
put into retrospect of this defense's performance throughout the playoffs, the NFC, we didn't give much props. We all were thinking, okay, what's going to happen is either the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl or it's going to be one of 4 teams from the AFC. Because, the AFC has so many better teams than the NFC. The NFC teams performed better against the Eagles than the Chiefs did.
Oh yeah.
By a long shot. I know the Commanders got blown out. The Rams, they held close with the Philly. It wasn't close at the last 5 minutes, but that game was competitive all throughout up until that last few minutes.
Philly almost
So,
choked the game
prop-
away, actually. They were up
Yep.
two scores, almost 2 touchdowns, and they almost choked it. But yes, you're
Yeah.
right.
Still
The
competitive
Rams,
throughout.
yeah, the Rams still hung in there way. I mean, the Chiefs didn't, plain and
The
simple.
the Rams gave the best performance against the Eagles in the playoffs. The Packers probably would have given a better one had they not fumbled the opening kickoff. That's such a massive thing to come back from, but they didn't do anything really. And then the Commanders, Jaden Daniels looked better against the Eagles defense than Patrick Mahomes did, and Jaden Daniels' O-line is way worse than the fucking Chiefs is. People want to talk about, Mahomes had no time to throw. Look, it's not like he has a bad O-line. He had injuries at left tackle, but there's still 3 All-Pros on that O-line.
I think that was a game plan thing, honestly, because I
Yes.
felt like the Chiefs O line
The
would
amount of
they just couldn't
stunts
see
worked
anything. Yeah,
out.
the amount of stunts. I was just gonna get to that. The amount of stunts
Yep.
drawn out that took place.
And
It was unbelievable.
It's not just a game plan thing on behalf of the Eagles defense. It was also a game plan thing for the Chiefs offense. That was one of the worst called offensive games of all postseason.
It was
Plain
horrible.
and simple.
It was horrid.
And
Oh,
one
horrid.
of the things that I will say about Mahomes' last 2 years, frankly, he was a lot better last year than he was this year, but he still was showing cracks, right, here and there.
Yes.
And especially in the Super Bowl again, right, where he had a
Yes,
mediocre
yes.
performance, but then he constructed a final drive that they ultimately sealed the deal on last year. But what the big difference in 2021 Mahomes or 2022 Mahomes versus 2024 Mahomes is Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy's back. He's been back for the last 2 years. And I think when you look at the offensive play calling and look at what they've relied on all year, which we said earlier in the show, relying on Travis Kelce to be the guy, otherwise nothing's really going to be productive. Look at the Super Bowl. I mean, they had multiple, and I pointed it out in the middle of the game, on my couch, of course. But I pointed out several times throughout that game, they could do things to move the ball, and they're just not doing it. I mean, there were several different looks that the Eagles were giving in the secondary where they could have done a 7-yard out, and if Mahomes delivers the ball on time, that's 7 to 10 yards and a first down. They can move the chains consistently that way and kill clock because they're not doing massive plays, right? And again, I think we all pointed this out live during the Super Bowl. They finally started running the ball down 3 scores. That's a little too late.
Down
Matt
2
Nagy.
scores.
That's a little
I
too
said
late
it
to
Yeah, they
start
had
running the
before,
ball.
one run before they were down 17-0. 17-0 is when they ran 2 plays in a row on their own like 10, 15 yard line.
Yeah.
And they decided, let's run 2 runs in a row, and then on 3rd and 7, let's have Mahomes scramble for his life and get sacked.
Yeah.
Like,
And
horrible game plan.
And that was the big problem for me with the Chiefs in general. The defense was good early and broke down because they were on the field all game. That's one thing. But it was the game planning, and it's been the game planning all season. I mean, you draft Xavier Worthy. He's good at a specific amount of things, right? That's what you drafted him for. But
you don't explore it.
you don't explore. You explore one of those things or 2 of those things. You explore the end arounds,
right?
and you explore the go routes, the streaks. Those are the only 2 things you explore all season. Where's the creativity? You need to
And he's so
open
good
it
with
up.
that. He's so good at doing that. With the arm Mahomes has, and you just don't try the whole game. I think
But
it's unbelievable.
that's part of my problem, though, right? You can't just have him run goes, because that was
No, you
what
can't.
ultimately what they scored on were those goes and deep routes.
Yeah.
You need to be creative,
Also-
mix it up, allow him to run a slant every now and again. Do something different. Give Mahomes
On a
give
screen or
Hopkins a
something,
sideline
right?
ball.
They
at some
did
point.
none of that.
Yeah,
Nothing.
there was no creativity from this offense, and it's been that way all year. Again, another reason why I kept saying all year, and I kept defending it despite them still winning every game. I kept saying they are not nearly as good as their record shows. Plain and simple.
Yep.
How many 1-score games did they have? Like
It was
11
a
or 12
lot.
this year?
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah,
Almost
it was
all
a
their
lot.
wins.
They
Yeah.
should have lost the Broncos game. Should have lost the. How is that Raiders game just out of people's memory already?
Yep.
That is the most egregious officiating involvement in a game I have ever
Yes.
witnessed since. Like, I don't know if there's anything replicable or like close to officiating, because like
Tuck
even
rule.
the Saints 2018.
I mean,
Yeah, Tuck rule.
Tuck rule's got to be it, right? And that was a playoff game, But
Yeah,
that
even
was
Saints
probably the
2018.
worst handled thing by the officials all year, and that's saying something.
Yep.
It makes no sense to me, and that's out of people's memory. And Chiefs fans still deny that it wasn't false start. He fumbled. Why would he fumble if the play was still live? Like, you're really making excuses for
Yep.
a one-time thing. This has never happened in the NFL before. You've literally
Yeah.
never witnessed this before. And it makes no sense because the Chiefs aren't a large market team. Like, I get they have Patrick Mahomes, but they are a small market team. So why was there favoritism there and the officials so blatantly all year? It's so confusing to me. I'm just glad they lost the Super Bowl, man.
One final thing for me before we move on, or before we give our closing thoughts on the whole season in general. The crux of my tirade, so to speak, on Twitter over the weekend, post Super Bowl, was players are allowed to have bad games. Players are capable of having bad games.
Yep.
Like, it's not an indictment on Mahomes' legacy or his entire career, or he's not a bad player anymore just because he played really bad in a Super Bowl. Obviously, that's the worst stage to lose on. You want to win the Super Bowl. You want to look as good as you can in the Super Bowl, and he did not. And he, quite frankly, has not. He's had one good performance, maybe 2 in the Super Bowl. One of them was a win, right? But the biggest thing about the entire discourse going on since that game has been this, that people just were so afraid to accept that he can have a bad game, and so they were making up these false these false notions about the game, and false definitions or reflections, whatever you want to call it, like, about the game. And that's just not what happened. What happened was he has a bad game, and he's a human, as DeAndre Hopkins said, even though DeAndre Hopkins also complained about the refs. But he said it like, he's human. Everybody, like, all these players are capable of having a bad game. That doesn't make them a bad player anymore, And the same thing, vice versa, right? Jalen Hurts can have the game of his life. That doesn't mean he's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL now. It's one game, and it's the biggest stage, yes, but it's one
Yep.
game. It doesn't make it's not a reflection of their entire career.
I can't find 2025 playoffs for stats for the Chiefs on pre-snap motion.
Probably
but
very
It's
low.
very small,
Yeah.
very low.
I can't find any evidence of that, but I also was noticing that
Just
trend line,
notably, like so small, so small.
which makes no sense because they used it over 65% of the time in 2023 and then 77% of the
No,
time.
they used to have it all the time.
So and they do the fucking bullshit with the like spins and shit, and like you don't need that, but like there was a blatant lack of pre-snap motion in
Just
the Super Bowl
creativity in
from
general.
my perspective.
Yeah.
At minimum on the run plays, the run plays were a set it and forget it as it gets. Really Madden level
Literally
play
just
calling by
running
Matt
like
Nagy.
the most simple, most vanilla inside zones that you can think of.
Yep. It was very much, it felt like what the Eagles did last year with their run game. Inside zone, inside zone, inside zone, inside zone. Nothing.
Yeah.
Who was their offensive coordinator last year? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was
No, it
Nagy
was
still.
no for
The
the Eagles. You
Eagles?
mean right? Yeah,
Oh,
no,
the
the Eagles.
Eagles? It was Brian Johnson at first, and then he got fired, right?
Yeah,
I don't remember who came in relief.
yeah. I know it
Isn't
wasn't a
Nick
very high name.
Sirianni an offensive guy?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's like saying ice cream can be chocolate. I don't know. I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
That's just
I
like,
feel like Kellen Moore is probably going to call the offense in New Orleans.
yeah. Kyle
Yeah,
Shanahan
I
calls the
would think
offense
so.
in San
I
Francisco.
would think so.
Nick Sirianni, he's not a play caller. That's what it comes down to. I
He's
think.
a culture guy. He's just a Dan Campbell guy.
Eagles
So who did,
OC 2023.
Nick Sirianni, he's a Colts guy, right?
I think
Yes,
he came from the
yeah.
Colts.
Was he not the play caller in Indy?
Maybe at some point.
Maybe. I mean,
I think so.
so it was Brian Johnson. Who replaced Brian Johnson as Eagles OC 2023?
Nick Sirianni, whenever he first started coaching the Eagles, was the play caller, and then he gave it to Shane Steichen halfway through his first season.
Okay.
Nothing's
So,
going to
yeah,
give me
he
the answer quick
definitely
enough.
My last remark for the Super Bowl is that Vic Fangio's performance in Super Bowl should, and I mean,
It
frankly,
should
throughout
be
the
in
whole
the
season.
NFL Hall of Fame.
Yes, but it should be a wake up call to the Dolphins organization. Like this guy got ran out of Miami for whatever
Yeah,
fucking
but
reason.
you guys luckily replaced him with.
We have Anthony Weaver, who was also a head coaching candidate for the Saints, and I'm glad you guys didn't get him. I'm a big Anthony Weaver guy, but it should be an indictment to how the Dolphins are set up. Yeah, sorry, to how the Dolphins are set up. Like, why did this guy not work out in this team?
Yeah.
It had
It's
to
a
have been a
culture
personnel
problem.
thing.
It's a culture problem. I don't know if it's a personnel problem. It's to me, it's for sure a culture problem. I'm not sure if it's with McDaniel. I'm not sure if it's with the players. I'm not sure if it's a culture difference between McDaniel and Vic Fangio and how they treated their players. But something happened, right? And I think they should look at it carefully because, like in just the next year, if Fangio does that, like, just
I
something I
mean,
think they
if
should
you
think
look
about.
at it culturally, the Eagles are a way older team than the Dolphins are, so I guess that could be it. Vic Fangio's obviously been around for a really long time, so
Mhm.
that could be another thing. Also, Nick Sirianni's a lot more of a not necessarily
Culture
stoic. I
guy,
don't think he's fucking stoic, but
but
he's
he's
definitely more of a
yeah.
mature person than McDaniel.
No, he's
McDaniel is more of
polar
a
opposites.
lax.
Yeah, they're polar
Yeah.
opposites.
So I don't know. Fangio just fits better with Philly.
Yeah.
Anthony Weaver fits better with the Dolphins. I don't think you guys are worse off for having Anthony Weaver, to be honest. But
No. I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm a big Weaver guy. Just how the organization should think moving forward. And speaking of Weaver, if for some reason we have a bad season again, and which very possible, and McDaniel gets fired, I'll be so down for Weaver being next head coach as long as he has a decent season next year, right? And I said it multiple times, right? In the NFL, you have to have consistency and like success over long periods of time, not just a season thing, right? So I'm not rushing to say Weaver should be the head coach tomorrow, but just some food for thought. Another thing, Sweden tied with Canada 3-3.
That's wild.
I know, right?
Good for Sweden.
Good for
So
Sweden.
I know that's the last of our Super Bowl talk. We did finally get our last head coach vacancy filled with the Saints.
Good
Do
hire.
we want to do we want to wait until next week to do like head coach recaps, or do we want to do a quick recap right now?
We can do it right now. We can.
Uh,
Do you have a list pulled up that we can just go one by one?
Yeah, I can get one.
Perfect. Yeah, but that's something we have
So
not touched on at all.
We could
Maybe
try.
we've
We could
hinted
try.
at it.
We could try ranking them and see if we come to a consensus.
Yeah, maybe.
I saw a list on X a couple hours ago that had Mike Vrabel as an A+ hire for the Patriots. I was like,
A
A
plus
plus?
is A plus is a little.
I like the hire.
egregious.
I like the hire.
It's
My problem is
it's
how
a B.
rushed it
It's a
was.
solid B.
You don't
It's a
try to look at other candidates. I mean, we have Ben Johnson available. You don't even like think of
Yeah,
interviewing the guy. You don't even talk to the guy.
it's tunnel vision. That's what it comes
So
down to for the Patriots. They know what they want, and what they want probably is not good anymore, but they're still gonna take it, right? We'll see how much longer. We'll see how long the variable experiment lasts. I mean, we at least know that he's somewhat competent at his job based on what he did with the Titans. Not at the very end, but as they were building up their team. So
No, I like the hire.
Yeah.
I like Vrabel.
okay.
Fits well with the culture.
Wow, this list has Pete Carroll as the 6th worst hire. I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a bad decision for Carroll, but I'm not so sure if it's a bad hire.
So this one's interesting that I'm looking at right now, but let's just go name by name.
Yeah.
And then we'll like give them a temporary ranking, and if we want to move people up and down, we
Yeah,
can. But I think we can all agree that this is the worst head coach hire.
Aaron Glenn.
No, Brian Schottenheimer for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, for sure.
how many? There are 7, right?
Aaron Glenn is a
7.
7. Yeah.
So
7.
this is who I would put at
I
7.
agree.
This is the same shit that happened with Freddie Kitchens and the Browns.
Yeah.
The quarterback of the team is vying for a head coach. The owner is very big fan of said quarterback, and so he doesn't necessarily look at qualifications. He makes a rushed pick, and he goes with Brian Schottenheimer. Kellen Moore would have been a much better pick or fit for them. I'm sure Kellen Moore probably would have liked to go back to them after having left Dallas whenever they got Mike McCarthy in, because he was with the Jason Garrett regime. For those who don't remember, he was the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys for like 5 years in a row.
Mhm.
Obviously, we know his offense works with Dak. I
No,
think
he did
that
a good
probably
job
would have
there,
been
right?
their best fit hire. Yeah, I would have liked Kellen Moore for the Cowboys. Instead, they stay in house with a really bad staff already. I just don't like that hire at all. I don't think anybody does,
It's
particularly.
content with mediocrity. Jerry
Yeah.
Jones doesn't know how to change.
Yep.
Um, this is going to be who I think is going to have our number 6 spot, and that's going to be Aaron Glenn. I'm not a huge fan of this hire because
Me neither.
we've seen older defensive head coaches haven't necessarily panned out. The best case example that we've had in the last like 5 years of hiring an old defensive coach is the Bucks. The Bucks have been performing above expectations with Todd Bowles each and every year.
In spite of.
I've in spite of
He's
is
not
fair.
horrible. He's not horrible, but he's a coordinator, I think. That's really what it is.
He would be a really good defensive coordinator. That team is a team that I've had high expectations for each and every year because I'm a biased Baker fan. I obviously had high hopes for them whenever he first signed there, and everyone else was having them as like the second worst team in the league. I thought that was pretty fucking stupid. But I don't necessarily think, like Anthony said, Todd Bowles isn't necessarily the reason why they're winning, and so to repeat this trend of hiring long-term defensive coordinators that have been in and around the league, I'm not a huge fan. I mean, we've seen Vic Fangio, we've seen the two Texans guys, not Raheem, no, sorry, not Raheem Morris. Raheem Morris is the Falcons guy who also hasn't worked out so far. Not their current head coach, but the two before
David
him,
Culley and
Lovey
oh,
Smith.
yeah, Lovey Smith. There you go.
Love you.
Yeah, like this hasn't been a thing that's panned out. Hiring long-term defensive coordinators in the NFL, it hasn't been something that's been a huge success rate. So I'm not a huge fan of this hire.
I will say, you.
Sorry, I think you guys share the same thoughts.
No, I actually
Wait 1 second.
slightly. Well, it's funny because you did say that I would agree with what you said, and generally speaking, I do. I think this is a different case than that. And it's mostly because of the work that the Jets have to do to clean the culture in general. And they're not going to be competing for a Super Bowl anytime soon. It's very obvious that that is the case. And Aaron Rodgers is leaving, Devontae Adams is leaving. They're going to have an exodus of talent on that roster. And it's a full-on rebuild. You know, ideally they would get rid of more people, but they've cleaned house a lot already. And I think what Aaron Glenn is going to be able to do for them is, hey, they're not going to be a great team. He's probably not going to elevate them terribly much, but it's going to be an opportunity to shift the culture and invoke a little bit of stability in a perennially unstable franchise. And that, for that reason, I think it might be tough, and I might have to move him down again based on the other hires, because I think there are a lot of good hires in this cycle. But right now, I'm going to put him 4 or 5. Jacob?
We don't hear you.
Yeah, we lost you. What do you think about what I
During
said?
this
Murphy?
intermission,
I mean, I'm just.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree necessarily with what you said, and I think that is the purpose of the hire.
100%.
But at the same time, yes, you want to bring a guy to fix the culture over there, but I've seen like multiple flaws with how Aaron Glenn conducts his defense at times, play calling schematically, and
You
I
have
think
to
you got to
remember,
consider that as
though,
well.
you have to remember that that defense at the end of the road in Detroit had lost
Was
almost
in
all of their
shambles.
starters and a lot of other rotational / backup pieces. So I'm
Their
not
whole
gonna
D line was out.
right. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
blame everything that faltered in Detroit on him. I think actually he coached a lot of guys up to be better players than they would have been otherwise. And the another small element of the hiring that I do like and have liked since, maybe it's more of a retrospect thing so far, but I like the staff that he's putting around him too. I think he's putting a lot of really competent guys there, and that's going to help install this new culture.
I think it's the way he can have success.
Yeah.
He's not a culture changer, or not a culture changer, but a franchise changer in my view. It's who he surrounds himself with that I think can, like, maybe like a Nick Sirianni of sorts. You know, coordinator dependent, guy who leads his men. I don't. It's not nothing personal with Aaron Glenn. It's the prototype of the head coach, like Jacob said. And it's just what's working right now in the NFL, right?
And that could be the thing that the Jets need, right? Look at how they've been run the last few years. And frankly, not just the last few years, but for a very long time. I mean, they've been a laughing stock of the NFL for such a long time. This change, this, shift towards a little bit more of a modern style of coaching could be exactly the thing that they need to actually ascend. Where,
But see, that's the thing. What does Aaron Glenn provide to that team that Robert Saleh couldn't provide?
Stability, I think, would be the number one thing. I think Robert's and experience. Those two things, stability and experience. Robert Saleh had gone into a head coaching job on a bad team. The Jets were a bad team when he took over. And he tried as an inexperienced defensive head coach, which we've seen tried several times now since then. Generally speaking, it has been unsuccessful. I think the one good example of an inexperienced defensive head coach that got their first head coaching opportunity was D'Amico Ryans, right? So it's both of those things. It's stability and it's experience.
Okay.
Okay.
Good answer.
I'm cool with leaving Aaron Glenn at 5 right now. 4 is too high because he's just going to go down, plain and simple. I think the next guy up on probably lesser of a hire, bias remove, it's probably Kellen Moore. He's coming into a really shitty situation. And while I do really like this hire, I think he's an amazing play caller. I mean, he's obviously displayed that for years on end, and he's finally getting his time to be a head coach. It's not like a rushed one. He's been a head coach candidate for many, many years, so
A
it's not
long
like
time now.
it's not like he's a head coach candidate that okay, he's had a couple great years. Like Ben Johnson, I mean, he's probably going to be named higher. Obviously, he's going to be like one of the top guys, if not the top guy. But it's not one of those guys where he's only been producing for like 2 to 3 years, and it's just like
He has more consistency, right?
right. We have
Yeah, I see
we
what you're saying.
have more fruit for labor, but I don't know with the current state of my team and how horrible this situation is roster wise, cap wise, and obviously we have the worst GM in the league. Mickey Loomis is insufferable to be a fan of because he doesn't know how to give up and just restart when we need to desperately. We need to settle
It's
for
been
a
a while
rebuild.
now,
We've
right?
been needing to settle for a rebuild since we skipped out on Jordan Love. That was our last year with Breeze, and we won 13 games in the regular season, and then we threw 4
Yep.
interceptions because we didn't have a fucking quarterback behind Breeze. So
Yep.
This could be the moment, though, right? And
I hope so.
I think we'll have some answers about the type of control and the trajectory of the organization based on what they're going to draft this offseason and next offseason. Because I imagine, Kellen Moore is not going to be a hire that you're going to keep for 1 year and then turn it over unless something absolutely abominable happens, right?
Yeah,
This is a
exactly.
guy
Yeah.
that you're going to keep around. You're going to allow him to do his
A
thing
young guy,
for a
right?
while. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
You're going to
absolutely.
invest in
Absolutely.
him. And so
Yep.
what I'm really excited to see, or at least interested, maybe not excited, but interested to see, is how they approach the draft and how much control he has over the picks.
I'm very confident that we won't be selecting a quarterback. I mean, obviously reports have been out that the Saints are high on
Rattler's the guy,
Spencer
right?
Rattler.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with him being the starter this year. I obviously think he's going to fail. And I think because he's going to fail so bad that we're probably going to have a low record. And this is my dream situation. As a Saints fan, I never like you don't want to cheer for your team to lose, but with how good this upcoming quarterback class is, it would be so refreshing to just have the like faith and like hope of that top level prospect as a quarterback finally being on my team when I've wanted one for so long. I wanted us to take Jordan Love. I wanted us to take other players that had more opportunity to learn and sit behind Drew Brees and have a good situation. So I want someone who I can like invest my time and emotion in, not a fifth round rookie who was transferred away from his school because he got beat out by a freshman. That freshman was Caleb Williams. So like, let's not get too crazy. But like, I I want someone who has
Who's exciting?
pedigree to believe in. Yeah, someone who gets me excited to watch Saints football. So my dream situation is that we do lose a lot of games because I don't want Spencer Rattler to be the guy. Um, but if we do that, I'm afraid Kellen Moore is just going to get blamed and thrown under the bus.
But
But
here's the semantics of it, right? We're more so evaluating how Moore is going to produce because of the team and not the actual hire itself. You know,
Right.
I think
I
those are
think
two
Moore as a
distinct
head
things.
coach candidate is higher than where I have him ranked. So if we're doing that, then I would have him at 4.
Yeah, I'm looking like purely at names and like potential of changing that franchise. I think Kellen Moore can really be a changer. So I put him high on my list, probably 3, 4 around there.
I like 3 for now.
Yeah.
Okay. Then in that case, I think this is the next lowest person, and that's going to be Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll, I'm a big Pete Carroll guy. But
I like
here
Pete
in
Carroll.
this instance, I have
This
to
is a
talk
low
about
ceiling. This is a low ceiling.
it's a low ceiling, and it's just I don't know if it's what the team needs. Obviously, I could very well be wrong, right? But the team is so bad. Pete Carroll's gonna be around for how long? I mean, I don't know.
It's
I'm not
another
sure if it's
one.
what it means.
It's another guy, just like Aaron Glenn. It's the exact same hire. Just Pete Carroll has obviously a better resume as a head
But here's the
coach.
thing.
It's the exact
But
same
Aaron
hire though.
Glenn
He's
will
gonna.
be around for longer.
Well, sure,
Carroll's a rental.
but that's my point, right? Pete Carroll, they are bringing him in to install stability and experience, and rebrand the culture of the Raiders. That is what the hire is. That's exactly what the Jets are doing. So for me, these are very much, again, Pete Carroll, you can argue, has the advantage because of his pedigree as an NFL head coach, but they are 1A, 1B. They're the same thing, the same exact hire.
I think that prior to my belief heading into this, I actually am with Anthony on keeping Aaron Glenn at the 5 spot and putting Pete Carroll at the 6 spot because Aaron Glenn is 21 years younger. There's a bit more of a ceiling there. I mean, he has more duration, I think, as a head
Um,
coach, because even Pete Carroll in his best is not going to be around for overly long. Which maybe that's not what the Raiders need. I think that the Raiders have been in shambles since they fired
Del Rio.
fuck. Oh, Del Rio? I was gonna say the email guy. I can't think of his name.
Oh,
oh,
Gruden.
Gruden.
Yeah.
I think
Big Gruden guy.
I think the Gruden was the beginning of the end there for sure. But I also don't think
sure.
Gruden in his final stint with the Raiders did anything particularly remarkable. Obviously, they made the postseason one year, but I really think it's been since Jack Del Rio where he was fired for like no reason when he was fired. Like they had just come off of a playoff berth. Obviously, they lost the wild card game because Derek Carr broke his leg in week 16 or 15 of the regular season that year. But then the very next year they have a bit of a down year, but they're still like competitive. They're still winning games. They're still a tough out. And then they just fired him for no reason. That to me was the beginning of the end. Not that Del Rio's a fantastic coach or anything, or not that he was gonna win a Super Bowl with them or anything either, but that was it for me.
Where is he currently?
I'm not even sure.
I do agree
Is
with
he
you
even
in
coaching?
that Carroll and Aaron Glenn are the same purpose of the hire. But I can see Aaron Glenn, like the ceiling for Aaron Glenn is really changing the culture and staying around as a guy. Pete Carroll's going to change that and leave, and soon. So then, how does that work? So I definitely think Carroll below Glenn. I love Pete Carroll, but
Quick fun
I'm,
fact: Jack Del Rio is the head coach of the Paris Musketeers in the European League of Football.
let's
Hey,
go.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Okay.
Look, I'm content with them being 5A, 5B. We don't need to make them 5 and 6. They could just be tied for 5th because I think they're the identical hire.
That's lazy.
No, it's not
Wouldn't
lazy.
wouldn't
Yeah,
they be
no,
tied for 6?
Yeah,
No,
that's fine by me.
they would be
Or
tied for 5th. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then yeah, Schottenheimer is still the 7th guy because obviously.
Yeah.
Now here's where the debate gets in because we have Kellen Moore at 3. So
Right now, 3.
are we putting Mike Vrabel at 4 or Liam Cohen?
Dude, I'm changing the whole thing, bro. I'm putting more at 2.
Oh.
More over both. More over
Whoa.
both.
Whoa. I'm not doing that.
I would rather have Kellen Moore in my team right now than Mike Vrabel or Liam Cohen.
I am
100%.
staying put with Moore at 3. I'm putting Vrabel 4th. And
You're putting
That's what
Cohen
I
at
was
2?
thinking.
I'm putting Liam Cohen too. But let's talk about Vrabel
no.
first. Let's talk about Vrabel first.
See,
Because I think we all
even though
no, we don't
I
all
like
agree.
the Vrabel hire.
Yeah. No, it's a
I
good
like
hire.
it.
It's a B hire.
But
It's a good
it's
hire.
so much better because they got Josh McDaniels. It's so much better because they got Josh McDaniels on top of it.
So, are you disagreeing or agreeing with me?
Are you putting Vrabel too?
I don't know. See, are we gonna factor in the staff around them? Because if we are, then the Saints have to be lower. Kellen Moore has to be lower because he has Brandon Staley as his defensive coordinator.
I don't think so. Let me give my argument for Vrabel 4.
I don't think so.
And it's something that I said earlier already, so I'm just going to reiterate it real quick. It's the Patriots are returning to something that's familiar to them. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad hire. I think, honestly, 6 of the 7 hires are good or at least okay. There's one bad one. All the other 6
all
are
good
good.
except for Shoddy.
Sure, exactly. they are returning to familiarity. They know that Vrabel will, bow down to the Patriot way, that he's going to commit to that thing. He was a former defensive player under Belichick, former coach under Belichick, former head coach under the Titans. Like this is a formula that they want to retain for as long as they can possibly think about doing it without running out of answers, right? But familiarity does not mean evolving into the next era of the NFL. The reason that Belichick failed at the end of his regime, and we talked about it, I'm pretty sure, last year on the show, we talked about this. It's that it is such an archaic way to coach football and such an archaic way to play football as well, based on the game plans. It's old. They're not evolving. It's old money. It's not new money, right? You need to adapt or die. And so, yeah, that Josh McDaniels being the coordinator is a little bit more attractive. He's been a good coordinator in the past, but again, this is all familiar territory. They are going to try to do the exact same thing that they've done for years on end now, and I'm not a big fan of that philosophy. That's why he's number 4 for me.
I agree with you. I think he's 4.
I'm cool with having Kellen Moore above him. I'm so distraught from the Brandon Staley hire, honestly, that I don't know if you guys saw this in the Go House chat. I think it was because he got announced yesterday, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Here, yesterday at 10:45 a.m. Woo, let's go. That was when they announced Kellen Moore.
Yeah, I did
An
see
hour later, no, God, please no. That was when they announced the Brandon Staley hire.
I did see that. Yeah. Yeah.
So
tough hire for sure. Yeah.
I can't just have one good thing.
But
How is he getting defensive coordinator jobs in the NFL, man?
I know that's kind of crazy. I mean, they work together and shit. So
that's the only explanation. Yeah.
Only
That they've
explanation.
worked together.
They're both at the Chargers together, right?
Yep.
So my ranking will go as follows: Ben Johnson, Kellen Moore, Liam Cohen, Duval, right? Minus the eyebrows. Vrabel, and we talked about it, right? Aaron Glenn and Pete Carroll, 5A, 5B, and whatever they got going on at Dallas.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My only difference is Liam Cohen number 2 and Kellen Moore number 3. And
that's fair.
The reason Liam Cohen is number 2 is because he's a quarterback coach, and Baker Mayfield very clearly benefited a lot from someone like Liam Cohen to be there. And we're still in the era of the NFL where the offensive visionary type, the offensive guru type of coach that's young and that's going to, again, move the organization into the new era, or the modern era, I guess you can say as well. That's the new thing. That's hot. And this is another example of that. I think a quarterback guy going to a team that has an incredibly talented quarterback that has not been able to tap all of his potential yet, I think it's a good move. They have a good roster still. I still believe in a lot of their positions. They just had a killer draft again. They can have another killer draft, and they can really be in the mix for the AFC South, after 1 year turnaround.
Just intermission here. Overtime in Four Nations face-off.
That's fun. I am looking up. I'm trying to find confirmation that Brandon Staley's been hired. He hasn't been hired yet. He's just the leading candidate.
Oh, I thought.
Wow, that's
I thought
that's
he was.
intriguing.
I thought it was confirmed.
Nothing on Google so far.
Okay.
Fuck, dude, don't give me hope.
Well, I'll tell you. Nick Sorensen and Brandon Staley just ruined the 49ers defense last year. Ruined. So If you can stay
Yeah.
away from them,
Well, you got
do that.
Salah, right? I think you're excited about that hire.
Yeah, honestly, if we're talking
absolutely.
about best coordinator hires, it's either Robert Saleh or who did the Bears hire for their defensive coordinator?
It was your head coach, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dennis Allen. Yeah,
Yeah, there you
so
go.
it's either the two best coordinator hires are either Dennis Allen or Robert Saleh. Those are both amazing hires.
Yeah, those are amazing, but I think Salah's the best personally. Yeah, yeah, it's such a big upgrade for a guy who's been so good defensively.
This is so fucking funny. What the fuck?
All right. I will
I
say
looked
though
up.
as well. Again, talking about the Jets installing a good staff all around. They've got some guys here that they've just hired. Scott Turner, Steve Wilkes is on
It's a good hire.
the staff as well now.
Yep,
They're installing guys, and so
they are.
yet another reason.
I do
why.
like their staff. I still think the Bears have the best regime change in the league,
Yes.
and I don't think
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't think
100%.
there's a contender for the
The
Jets.
regime, yeah,
Also, or
100%.
sorry, the Bears.
The Bears, yeah,
Yes,
the
yeah.
Bears.
Can you open up what I just put in the chat?
No, I
Can I
can't.
stop dropping this? Oh my God, they just said coast to coast in the stream, guys.
Dude, shout out.
They said Nathan McKinnon just went coast to coast. Yeah, we're gonna have a guest. Nathan McKinnon, welcome.
It just clicked. It just clicked, Jacob. I don't know why it took me so long. It just clicked.
What I sent you,
Yeah, it just clicked.
dude. That doesn't look like Dennis Allen to me.
Yeah. Okay, so final NFL thing, I guess, for the show. Unless you guys have other thoughts, I do want to tackle this Kurt Benkert prediction since we all saw it. We all have a thought on it.
What a goofball! Holy
Oh.
shit!
Listen, I
Listen, I
think
don't
What a
care.
goofy goober list.
I think Kurt Benkert, generally speaking, is a little overhated. I think people like to clown on him because his NFL career was
No,
very
I think
short.
he's underhated. I think he's got to be underhated.
He's not terrible.
I'm kidding.
He's not
I'm
good,
kidding.
but he's-
Holy shit!
Yeah. Okay. all
Alex Bregman is a Red Sox.
right. Are you serious?
Who's a Red Sox?
120 million over 3 years.
Who's a Red Sox?
120
Alex
for
Bregman.
3? I thought he wanted 6
Yeah.
years. I thought he wanted like a 6-year deal.
3-year deal, 120 million with 2 player opt-outs. They just said, "Here, Bregman, we're gonna give you every possible thing you could ever ask for as a free agent." What the fuck?
That's a desperation move, if anything. What? So they're gonna just have Rafi play DH?
Probably put him in the outfield, right?
Rafi?
Either that or have Bregman play second. Who's their second baseman?
I don't know, man. They've had a quiet off season.
No quieter than the
Also-
Brewers.
Something that
the
pisses me
Brewers
off about the
crickets,
Royals.
man. Unbelievable.
the
Oh, Tristan
Marlins
Caston.
just hired someone.
No, he's their first baseman. I'm assuming they're gonna have Bregman. Oh, I mean Trevor Story. I don't know. They're probably gonna have Bregman play second. That's what I would think.
Maybe. That's a lot for a second baseman. That's a lot for a second
Holy
baseman.
shit!
40 million per year.
Yeah, but you're paying for the bat.
I understand, but he hasn't been a dominant bat
It's-
in the past few years anyway. Still,
Put this in NFL terms for me,
now
guys. I'm
he
still
might.
learning baseball
Now
players
he is
and
playing in
contracts.
Fenway, so that might be an attractive thing, you know. But
True. Oh, they got Garrett Crochet this year. Oh wait, did they trade for him last year?
no, that was recent. Yeah, I remember that. Hearing about that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
then they've had a decent offseason. I don't think Garrett Crochet is going to necessarily work out for them
I
as a
don't.
lefty pitcher in Fenway.
I don't. I don't think he's gonna work out just as like the career trajectory in general. I think
Judge
that's
is
a
going to
player.
hit so many home runs off of that guy.
That's a player that I feel, again, I don't wish this upon anybody, but I think that based on what he was doing in Chicago and the kind of hype that he was getting, it's someone that was destined to fail because of that workload. That was a workload that he has never seen before, and he hopefully for him he doesn't have to see again, because if he does, I don't see it being sustainable at all.
Mhm.
But-
Okay.
Can
In
you guys? Can
NFL
you
terms,
guys?
how
Yeah,
would I
put that in
put
NFL
this?
terms. Yeah, because I'm still
Um,
learning baseball players and like value of positions, contracts. Like I'm still learning that in baseball.
See, it has to be a guy who's a little bit on the downward trajectory, but not too much. So I would say this is like a guy like Charvarius Ward getting 29 to 30 million ish.
Holy
No,
shit!
it's not that big of an overpay. No, Charvarius Ward just came off of
Okay, wait. No. This is better. This is like Khalil Mack getting 28 million a year for 3 years, and he gets a player choice for each year with a massive signing bonus.
Okay. Is that more close, Anthony? I think he agrees.
Honestly, I would say that this is an Austin Eckler, but he makes $10 million more. Austin
I
Eckler
don't
to
know
the
because it needs to be a
I get
position.
the gig of it. I get the gig of it between Mac and Eckler. I get the gig of it.
okay, the
It's a
reason I pick
semi-productive player that's getting paid all-star money.
yes,
Okay,
more than
but what
all-star
about the
money
value
for
of the
40
position? Like,
million.
how is like edge rusher is more valuable than a second
Again,
baseman, right?
Yeah,
that's my
it's
point.
definitely more close to edge rusher than running back.
Okay, all right, cool.
I would disagree.
I get that.
I disagree a lot.
Third baseman?
No, he's gonna play second base though. I thought we just agreed on that.
Okay. Yeah, no, if we're doing second base, then it's definitely a running back for sure.
Yeah,
But I'm saying like if you're playing the hot corner and you're a power, I mean, is he a power back? I mean, in Fenway he would be. I
that's
don't
what I'm
fucking know.
saying.
It's a really
Guys,
weird
That's what
timing.
makes
Guys,
it. That's what
holy
makes it feel
shit.
better is because of playing in Fenway for his bat. Like he's probably gonna. If he's good and healthy, he's gonna mash next year probably. But again, is it? I don't know. We'll see.
This could be like a Bobby Wagner getting paid 20 million a year for 3 years.
Maybe.
We were talking about Javarius Ward. If Javarius Ward wants to come to Miami, he'll be very welcome.
He's a good player. He had a really rough year. He
I
had
like
injuries.
him. I like him.
He had injuries.
I
He
think
lost
Bobby
family.
Wagner is the better
Personal,
comparison.
yeah, a lot of personal shit.
And do you like the Bobby Wagner comparison?
I still like Eckler the most, and it's not just because it's the
Guys.
one I made.
Holy
I don't think
shit.
Eckler's that good though.
But my point
He had
is
a good
that
year.
Eckler's fine, but Eckler had the 1 year that everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is the best running back." And Bregman had that year. He had a couple of those years, but he had that
It could be
moment.
Stephon Diggs. It could be Stephon Diggs.
I suppose if Stephon Diggs was a running back,
I think he's had a couple of good years as a
because
wide receiver. Though.
a wide receiver is an outfielder. You know, that's how I view it.
Well,
Outfielders are way more
your
valuable
camera's,
than a
your
wide
camera's
receiver, I
frozen,
think.
Anthony.
Say it
That's
again.
back. Your camera's back.
Okay, it froze for a second.
It never left for me.
It was frozen for a second. It's frozen again. It's oscillating. Holy shit, Canada Discord.
You're moving fine for me, Ant.
Okay,
Now he
it's
is.
Barufi then. It's just a Barufi
Um,
problem.
Yeah.
I'm good now. Holy shit, Canada
don't
won!
Fuck.
That is the biggest free agent signing on the
Fuck.
offseason, right? Either him or Santander, right? Besides the Japanese guys.
Soto and Alonso.
Oh, I forgot about those. Dude, those were so early in the offseason, man.
Alonso was just signed, but Soto was early.
Yeah. I don't know. My issue with what the Royals did is I'm sorry, go ahead and finish the NFL talk so that way we can transition into something else.
Okay. Yeah, just want to quickly discuss this Kurt Benkert top 20 quarterbacks. Do you guys have it pulled up, or should I? Okay, let me figure this out. Why is it not allowing me to? Okay, we'll just go to x.com. Okay, it won't type. That's fine. X. Uh-oh. Maybe I am having internet issues. That was slow. No, not VX. What the fuck? This is the worst commercial break ever. Okay.
I got it pulled up. It's fine.
Well, here you go anyway.
Holy shit, I'm just now processing that he didn't have Brock Purdy in the top 20 quarterbacks of the league.
No,
He
he's
did.
there.
He
He's
had
number
it at
15.
very low. He had him very low.
Oh, no,
So
he is number 15. Okay.
yeah. So this list is really, really bad. What is the worst thing on the list for you guys? What is the worst thing about it? Oh shit. Just lost.
You want to be objective or be a homer?
Trevor Lawrence at 20 is
I
pretty
want you
bad.
to be objective.
Even for me, Lawrence at 20 is crazy. Even for me, Lawrence at 20 is crazy. And that's saying something.
Yeah, that's
Actually,
really rough.
I'm really hating Dak at 10.
So the list
What happened?
for people listening and not watching, the list is Lamar Jackson 1, and I'm gonna go down from there. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Matthew Stafford, C.J. Stroud, Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield, Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, Bo Nix, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Caleb Williams, Michael Penix Jr., Sam Darnold, and Trevor Lawrence. Wow, 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 wow. And that's obviously only the top 20. He didn't even mention Bryce Young, and I know he said that. I'm excited to see what Bryce Young and Drake May show up to be this year. They're fighting an uphill battle with their teams, though. My thing is, this is not a prediction. This is so obviously not a way too early prediction because he's just doing what he thought of them this year. That's what it looks like to me. I don't think you'd make a prediction for
I don't
next
know,
year.
though, because if you're putting it for just what you thought of them this year, it's even worse. Because what the fuck is Dak and Jordan Love doing that high?
Okay, that's fine. But if you're making a prediction for next year, what is someone like Caleb Williams doing at 17? And if you really think that Bryce Young is a good player, why don't you have him mentioned on this list as well, right? That's my thing. I think it's very dishonest with what the criteria actually is. That's number one. Number two, obviously there are a lot of bad misplacements. Look, Jalen Hurts is not number 7 in the NFL. Justin Herbert, I mean, 6 might be his ceiling. So you're expecting him to be be the best version of himself next year. Stafford, he's only going to get worse. So if you had him 8 this year, he's not going to be 8 next year. I highly doubt that. Stroud, whatever, he could bounce back. Prescott, whatever. I mean, if he's healthy, sure, whatever. Obviously,
Expecting Trevor Lawrence to regress with Liam Cohen is also
that's another
crazy.
one, right? Absolutely. Sam Darnold, we have questions about whether he's going to be a starter anyway, and what team he's going to play for. If he's going to play for the Giants, I don't think he's going to be 19th quarterback in the NFL. I'd be, right? To be a homer
above Drake May is so painful.
Sure, 100%. If you're going to make a prediction, make a prediction. Be honest about it. But to be a homer before Barufi's a homer, Brock Purdy at 15 is, I think, really awful.
I think Brock at 15 is awful.
Think about everything bad that happened to the 49ers this year, and Brock was still 7th in quarterback rating in QBR for the entire season. 7th. That's basically what you're telling me is the worst case scenario for everything can happen for the 49ers, and his floor is 7th in the NFL. But we're having him 15th in what should be a bounce back year. That's ridiculous. I think that is completely ridiculous and not just a homer take. But yeah, your guys' thoughts.
Kurt Benkert is the type of guy to say anybody could have produced in that offense while having some of the worst stats while in Aaron Rodgers' offense.
I don't care about his stats, but he's been high on Brock before, which is why it's weird that he's placing him 15th behind guys like Kyler Murray, like Jordan Love, like Dak Prescott, guys that he's beaten several times now, or not several, but you get my drift, right? Weird. It's just weird.
Listen, you guys probably disagree with me saying this, but I said it today, and I said it multiple times before, that NFL analysts, NFL fans just have this tendency of ranking players super low after 1 year. I cannot put Jaden Daniels above Mahomes. I just can't do it, bro.
Yeah, you can. Predicting wise, absolutely. He was better than him last year.
I cannot, bro. I cannot.
Jaden Daniels was better than Patrick Mahomes last year.
I can't sit here and say I trust Jaden Daniels more than Patrick Mahomes. I can't say that.
No, it's not about trusting him. Do you think the guy who's a rookie, who just had one of the best rookie years of all time, is going to improve upon that or just stay the same? And do you think that Mahomes,
I don't care about that.
team,
I don't care about that.
No. Let me finish. Do you think Mahomes is going to be better or worse
with losing Trey Smith to free agency, with Travis Kelce getting a year older, with still having Matt Nagy as his offensive coordinator. What do you think is going to happen? Mahomes is going to
Listen,
get better all of a sudden?
we still have the rest of free agency to happen. We literally do not know what's going to happen in free agency. Just look at Herbert after his rookie year. Just look at Stroud after his rookie year. I cannot sit here
Herbert
and
after his
say
rookie year improved.
Herbert did not improve it after his rookie year. Absolutely
His
not.
sophomore year was still good.
It was not better than his rookie year. And look at CJ Stroud. I cannot sit here and say Jaden Daniels is over Patrick Mahomes. I think that's just, a heat in the moment kind of thing. I cannot put Herbert over Jalen Hurts either. After, I think Hurts proved himself twice in the biggest stage. He played really well twice in the Super Bowl. I think he deserves his flowers. Herbert did absolutely nothing in the playoffs multiple times now. He has a lot of questions around him. I don't see how you put Herbert over Jalen Hurts. Stafford is too high. Baker's low. Love is too high. Brock
I'll
is
agree. Baker is low. That's where I'll be my homer because I'm definitely not picking a fucking Saints quarterback to talk about.
Baker's too low. I think Jared Goff and Brock are so low.
There's no way you're defending Jared Goff. Oh my fucking god, dude.
I don't think he's 16th, dog. I think he's better than 16.
I think if we're
No, he's not.
predicting 16 might be a very fair spot. It really is just about, again, how you think that offense is going to play next year with the vacancy of Ben Johnson. And again, the thing that I think that Kurt fails to recognize, even though he tries to say that he did recognize it, is that other quarterbacks are going to ascend a lot. Like, I think Caleb Williams at 17, maybe that happens because it's the first year of a Ben Johnson system and everything, but there's a really good chance that he ascends, because they're going to have another draft, because they're going to improve on, on the play calling and everything like that. He's going to have another year under his belt. Bryce Young, toward the end of the last year, looked legit a top 10 quarterback at the end of last year. Like, he was really good. Drake May, we all have we're all high on Drake May. He can absolutely, ascend with competent coaching and competent pass catchers and everything. So I that's why I'm saying this list to me feels very dishonest with what it actually is. Either you're not doing a prediction or you're not doing a ranking right now, and it's neither of those.
If he doesn't like Tua enough to put him at the top 20, doesn't trust him or whatever the case.
I would have Jared Goff outside of the top 20 before I would have Tua outside of the top 20.
I liked them very similarly. I probably have both in my top 20. I just think there's guys here that I don't have
Michael
over Tua.
Penix Jr. doing on here? We don't even know if he's going to start.
I just talked exactly about that, and it's even worse for Penix. Why is he so high? Like, for what reason? He played how many games?
He's going to start. I think that's a given fact.
He's going to start.
He's going to start.
18th is too high. It's too high.
It probably is. Again, this is where it comes into like prediction. If you're predicting 18, I could see it. He looked good when he finally came in relief at the end of the year. Again, that was against bad teams. Like, his first game was against the Giants, right? But he looked good. And so if you give him a full off season of first team reps, if you give him, if you get him a true receiver 3, for example, and you actually balance the rushing attack and everything, I think he could be the 18th best quarterback. I think he could be the 12th best quarterback in the NFL next year. And that's not the problem I have with that, right? It's that inclusion, but ignoring other people, I'm really curious to see what the next 12 would be on his list, because the 20 here leaves a lot, obviously, to speculation of how the rest of the guys are ranked. But, I don't know. It's just a really bizarre ranking.
Rufy, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you not expect Jared Goff to regress?
I expect him to regress, but I like Jared Goff. He still has a very good team around him. I think he has very good traits to him. And he's been in the NFL for a while now. I think he's gotten a decent amount of experience. He's gonna regress a little bit, I think. But I probably have him in my top 12 still.
Top 12 is fucking crazy.
I have him over Love, for instance. for sure.
Well,
Love at
yeah, but
12 is
Love is also
crazy.
too high. But we also have people like Brock Purdy who are too low.
You see, Brock, I'm bringing up to my top 12. I'm bringing up Goff to my top 12. I'm bringing Stafford down just because he's getting old. I'm bringing
Stafford's
Herbert
better than
down.
Goff.
I'm bringing Dak. I'm bringing Dak down. So
Stafford would produce more in the Lions offense than Goff would.
yeah, but I also got to consider where they're at. I just can't say ifs and buts. It's what I'm
Okay, that's not ranking
working
them
with.
as a quarterback. That's ranking how much production you think they're gonna have. Obviously, Goff has good production, but he is made by that team. And this is another thing that Colin Coward has shoved up his ass is he thinks that Jared Goff is a creator who thinks that Jared Goff is why Ben Johnson is so fucking good. It's insane to think that way because Jared Goff is the
I do
benefit
think
of
it's insane to think that way.
the ultimate fucking roster. We're talking best O line in league, except for maybe the Eagles. We're talking Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams, who, if you want to be low on Jameson Williams, fine, but he is an elite receiving prospect, and he was a top 25 receiver last year. So suck my nuts. You have two top 25 receivers, one of which being a top 5 receiver, and then you also have a top 5 running back, and then the best complement to a top 5 running back in the league and David Montgomery, who is just a fucking free touchdown every single time you get into the 4-yard line. So I don't want to talk about, Jared Goff is the one making the situation so good. No, the fuck he's not. Oh, I didn't even talk about Sam Laporta, who had a down year this year, but was one of the best rookie tight ends of all time last year. Like, what are we doing here? He is made by his situation. We saw him fail for years with the Rams. He never won shit with them. He lost a Super Bowl where he put up 3 points. What are we talking about? With Sean
I
McVay as his head coach.
I am gonna push back as well. I'm not the biggest Goff fan. I really thought that the MVP talks about him this year were a little asinine, frankly. But
He was fourth in voting.
I understand that, and I'm not saying that that's okay. What my suggestion or what my pushback here is that we can't make that argument about Goff and then not make that argument about Brock Purdy or Jalen Hurts or any of the other guys that do benefit
No,
from a
you
great
can
supporting
though.
cast.
No, you can though because the Niners offense didn't produce to this level without Purdy, whereas the Lions we haven't seen them without Goff, but we have seen Goff without that offense
You can't
and
make that
Goff without
assumption
that
though.
offense.
You can't make the
But
assumption
We
about
he
saw
Goff
grew
Goff
as a
without
without
player
that
Purdy.
though.
offense.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not true though, because yes, they sucked in the Super Bowl that year. We just talked about how quarterbacks can have bad games. He sucked in that Super Bowl, but that offense that year was like really fantastic. And again, it's not only because of him. I'm not trying to make it sound like he carried the team
That's
or
his
anything.
one top 12 year.
But
That's his one top 12 year.
but what you're trying to say is that he sucked in
I
2016,
can't
his rookie year,
I
with Jeff
can't blame a
Fisher as his
player for
quarterback,
facing Belichick and the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And they're just
and
marking their career for that.
and the team, like, before Sean McVay took over, was terrible. Like, they had the number one pick for a reason when he was selected.
hmm
You know, I just don't like the supporting cast argument. I don't think it's very fair. Now, we can argue whether he elevates guys, and maybe that's the distinction you're trying to make here. But when you just talk surface level about supporting casts, you can make that argument for a lot of guys, and I think that desaturates the quarterback debate in general. And it no longer becomes fruitful. Now, if we want to talk about how he elevates the talent, now we can do that, by all means. And I would probably agree with you more than Barufia in that regard. But yeah,
Are we gonna do a whole quarterback tier list or?
I just had it pulled up in case you guys wanted to. We don't have to. It'll probably take a while. Um,
I want to get to this. Well, I want to talk Royals offseason real quick, and then I want to get to your discussion topic.
sure.
Um, my biggest issue with the Royals offseason this year is last year we had a go-getter mentality, went out, signed like 5 free agents. We knew that we needed to change our lineup and this and that, and get talent to make our team better. We got Seth Lugo, we got Michael Walker, who are fucking phenomenal, super underrated. Seth Lugo might be a little overrated because he was a stat machine last year, but Michael Walker is definitely underrated pitcher. So I'm happy with both of those signings, and in general, I think our offseason last year was amazing, even though we signed guys like Adam Frazier and Hunter Renfroe who didn't work out. But then for this year to have such a promising year last year, and then this year to be like, okay, we're gonna trade Brady Singer for Jonathan India, good. Brady Singer is highly volatile to regression because he doesn't improve on anything. He's the most. I'm going to throw the same 2 pitches every single year, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I'm more than happy with getting a middle or a good leadoff bat, which was something that we were terrible at last year. Actually, fun stat for the podcast: the Royals leadoff hitters last year produced 63 WRC plus, which is 10 points behind second worst. And second worst was the Chicago White Sox, which were the worst team of all time. So, to put into perspective how awful our leadoff position was last year, that should explain it pretty well enough. So, getting Jonathan India, great leadoff hitter, I'm happy with that. But we needed an outfielder, and you had Anthony Santander available. Um, to not offer the extra 2 to 3 million over an instead of doing like because they offered like I think it was 72 million over 3 years, just offer him 2 to 3 million more for a 2 year deal. That's what he got with the fucking Blue Jays. So I don't see why you couldn't contest that a little bit more because he would have been a massive addition to our lineup projection wise. I mean, obviously, there's obviously a chance that he just doesn't pan out. I mean, free agents often don't pan out, but I had pretty high hopes for a guy like Santander to be at least an RBI guy for us, especially given how bad our outfield was. So it's a little disappointing that they were willing to say, "Oh, well, we put in an offer, so that's good enough." I hate that mentality from a small market team. The well, we put in an offer, so that's as good as trying to sign a guy. Like, no, you got to sign someone. And then Hong Song Kim, we got beat out by like 1 million. You're telling me you couldn't just give him an extra 2 million to get the offer over, or give him like a player option, so that way he'd have more incentive to come play for an actually good team. Like, these are guys who could have greatly improved our lineup and increased our run production last year, which was already better than it should have been because we were so good at situational hitting. But it would also just be nice to be able to rely on, oh, well, we actually have good hitters instead of we have the guy who can hit a sac fly when we have someone on third. Like, there's a difference in the game. And I appreciate how we played the game last year because we did what we needed to do to win. I want to see a team that actually has intent to go out and win a World Series, albeit a lot harder to do with the fucking Dodgers existing. But
Are they ruining baseball?
no, the rules are. You shouldn't be able to put money on the back end and designate it for 10 years down the road. So that's a massive issue on the structure of the league on top of the salary cap. Instead of being a luxury tax, it needs to be a hard set cap. Plain and simple, that's a league adjustment that needs to be made, not necessarily a Dodgers problem.
So in
There
other
needs to
words,
be a
Dodgers-
salary. There needs to be a salary floor and ceiling in the MLB.
Yeah.
It will keep teams
Yeah.
like the Oakland Athletics, soon to be Sacramento Athletics, soon to be Las Vegas Athletics, from not not fielding an MLB team. It will keep the Dodgers from being the perennial World Series favorite every year. Yeah, the luxury tax is not enough. It's obviously not enough of a deterrent because if you just spend enough money, you're just going to beat everybody anyway, regardless of the luxury tax. So it's not enough. Losing draft picks on qualifying offers is clearly not enough either. They still managed to field a top farm system because teams just bend over to them in trades and whatnot, and including themselves, obviously drafting very well. But
Well,
yeah,
they have such a high prospect market because they have the best international signings every single year.
yes, that too, of course. They are just taking advantage of the broken system, and you can't fault them directly for that. It comes down to organizationally, the MLB is in real deep shit. They have a lot of problems, and they are not addressing them as problems. They don't even recognize that they're problems. And the problem is, another problem about it is that the fan base or the audience for the MLB is very divided on the issue. There are people who don't think it's a problem at all. They're like, well, just spend money. Well, a team like the Royals are never going to outbid the Dodgers. So you need some kind of limitation. Even like, yeah, it's a weird thing to excuse.
Soccer is exactly like the MLB where there's no salary floor or cap.
Soccer's the exact thing.
As long as I've been alive, the same European teams, the same Brazilian teams are good, and the same teams are bad. As
100%.
long as I've been alive, long as I've been alive.
And then the occasional year, the smaller market team wins.
It's so rare. It is so rare, and let me tell
it's
you,
way more rare in soccer, in any soccer league, than in baseball.
way more. Yeah, I was just gonna
Way
get to that.
more
It's
rare.
so much rarer in soccer because I've seen it. I've seen maybe. I mean, what Leicester City did in the Prem, um, a while ago. That never happens. It
Mhm.
never happens.
Yep.
There's a team why that team was so legendary and why it marked the league because it never happens. In
And-
Brazil, there was never. Here's the thing: there was never a team that shocked Brazil like that by winning a chip. They only ever got close to it. In Brazil, it's only ever the same 5 teams who do something.
Yeah,
And
there's a reason
moreover
why.
on this,
Go ahead.
so moreover on this, because Anthony mentioned it, how the Royals will never outbid the Dodgers. The reason why I'm complaining about this offseason is because we got outbid by the fucking Blue Jays and Rays. Like, these are also small market teams that don't have insanely high budgets. Actually, the Royals have higher budget than both of those teams.
Toronto's
so
not small,
being outbid by them,
but I get what
huh?
Toronto's not small, but I get your point.
These are teams that the Royals should be able to outbid.
Sure.
And that's my issue with it. If it was like, oh well, the Dodgers went and forked over 500 fucking million in 2070 because they can, um, that'd be a different story. I'd be like, okay, fuck the MLB. This is a come on, Royals, open up your pockets a little bit. I do like the Carlos Estevez signing. I will say this: the Royals are going to go from, and this might be my hot take for the whole year. The Royals are going to go from the worst bullpen in baseball last year to a top 5 bullpen this year. I'm fully confident in that. I think we have a really high ceiling for our bullpen this year, and I'm looking forward to our pitching coaches developing the talent that we brought in.
Yep.
It's good to have hope. I can't say the same about my Marlins.
Yeah, what's happening in Miami and what's happened in Miami for 20 years, rough stuff. Rough stuff.
Yeah, I have maybe 4 names that excite me with the franchise right now, and it's Sandy, just because Sandy, Yuri, Xavier Edwards, and Dane Myers. I mean, those are, I think, especially Dane Myers, is a guy. It's a guy that really every time he plays, he does something, and then he keeps going sent to the minors. Is brought back up, but I don't get why. Now apparently he's supposed to be a full-time major, but anyways,
Since we're talking about the Marlins real quick, me and Rufy looked at this stupid tier list on Twitter, and it was all the major sports leagues in the US, and it was like who are the best teams to be a fan of and the worst teams to be a fan of. So real quick, the Penguins, I'm a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. I haven't seen my team field a hockey team without Sidney Crosby on there. The fact that the Penguins weren't in the top tier is just wrong. I haven't witnessed a hockey team without a top 5 NHL player of all time on their roster.
Yeah.
That's how spoiled I am. I'm 20 years old and I haven't witnessed a single game without Sidney Crosby, aside from injuries. So they should have been in the top tier. Like, plain and simple, they should have been in the top tier. Secondly, the Tampa Bay Rays were in the top tier. For those who are not baseball fans, this team has zero budget. They never sign free agents. They are solely reliant on small market prospects, and they're really good at doing that. But they have never won a World Series. A team that has never even seen a championship is in the. This is the best team to be a fan of. Why? Because they win trades in the offseason every
all you
single
have
time
to
they make a
know,
trade. It doesn't
all
result in rings.
all that the listeners have to know about the tier list is that the Dolphins and the Patriots were in the same exact tier. That's all they have to know.
Yeah.
The Dolphins and the Patriots are in the same tier, and then the Marlins were in the lowest tier when the Marlins have 2 World Series in the last 25 years. They have 2 World Series championships.
They definitely have to be low, right? But the absolute lowest, I think it's a little harsh. There's definitely teams who.
The Tampa Bay Rays. That's what I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like
On sports Twitter, there were a number of different tier lists that people made about this very thing. Not a single one was even remotely close to good.
no,
Like,
all
how
of them are
did-
bad.
Why
We
why
should, we
why
should do
is
a
it?
proper.
We should do
We
one.
should
Maybe
do a
next
proper.
episode we'll
We
do
should
that.
do a proper. We have to do a
But-
proper tier list of that.
But seriously, like I don't understand how idiots can generate an audience.
idiots?
How idiots can create an audience over smart people.
For the record, how idiots?
Yes,
How idiots?
idiots.
In what world are New Jersey Devils fans better off than
Oh my
Pittsburgh Penguins fans?
What have the Devils done? What in the flying fuck have the Devils done?
It is the classic. It's the classic. I've only followed sports for 2 years. This is what I think. That's what it
These
is.
teams have been good and these teams have been bad.
Yep.
That's all there is to it.
That's
Yep.
exactly what it
Any
is.
tier,
The Niners were in the same tier list as the Dolphins.
dude. I have seen the baseball ones are the baseball teams are the worst takes possible because I've seen so many. And shout out to friend of the podcast, Tori. I have seen so many tier lists where the Mariners are not even in the bottom tier. For those who
They
don't
have to
watch
be
baseball,
they have to be
for
yeah.
those who don't watch baseball, the Mariners did not make the playoffs in my lifetime until 2 years ago. They didn't make the playoffs. Playoffs? You want to talk about playoffs? They didn't do it in my lifetime until 2 years ago. And you're telling me this team isn't one of the worst to be a fan of? So a team that never forks over money to
Especially in
have to
baseball
watch.
too, right? Because things are always changing. Teams are always evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah, teams are always evolving except for the goddamn Mariners. And you know who else is evolving? Everyone in their division. We've seen 2 Rangers World Series since I've been born. I've seen 2 Astros World Series since I've been born. Haven't seen the fucking Mariners. Even at least the A's have Moneyball. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Tough one.
The
It's not,
Chicago
but
the Chicago
listen,
White Sox and Anaheim Angels have more playoff success in my lifetime than the fucking Mariners do.
I don't know what time you guys gotta log off tonight. I'm kind of chilling, but if you guys want to send it and do the tier list now, I'm down for it.
Well,
Maybe we can do a bonus ep, but I do want to move on to Murphy,
Yes.
your presentation.
We have tennis PowerPoint.
Yes.
My God, tennis PowerPoint and the Coast to Coast podcast.
Now
who is the
before
goat of tennis?
before we start, one of the things that I wanted to ask,
Yeah,
a few minutes ago was I wanted to see how many Premier League teams that Jacob could name. Yeah, do you
Two.
know 2 of them? All right, let's hear it.
Sporting KC. Oh no, Premier League. Premier League. No. No. I don't know if I can name one.
I think you could
MLS,
name
I can
one.
name 2.
You can name one
Um,
Premier League team, please.
I just talked about one.
Well, hush, Broofy, hush. Is Premier League like countries or no?
It's United Kingdom.
Fuck.
Oh come
Yeah,
on,
no.
dude.
Is the BVB team? Is that a Premier League team?
Oh my God.
no, that's Germany. That's Bundesliga.
Bundesliga or Bundesliga.
Not
The
no.
the two MLS teams I can name are Sporting KC and Miami FC.
Inter Miami.
Yeah, Inter
Inter
Miami.
Miami.
Inter
Yeah,
Miami
I don't even
CF.
fucking know that one.
Yeah, that's hilarious. No, so no Manchester
What the
City,
fuck is
no
soccer?
Manchester United,
What the
no
fuck is
Liverpool,
football?
no Chelsea. None of those. None of those ring a bell.
Liverpool does.
All right. He doesn't know ball, but he got one.
Dude, I don't give a fuck about soccer. I could do. How many current pro golfers can you name?
Fuck. Tiger Woods.
There we go.
Congrats.
I can name one pro golfer in 30 seconds. But
All right.
soccer's boring as, or golf is boring as fuck.
1. Happy Gilmore, Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Presentation time for Mr. Vitor Barufi, who is a massive tennis fan. And he
Yes.
would like to answer this long awaited and many times asked question.
Yes.
Who is the GOAT of tennis?
Who is the go to tennis? Now here's how this is gonna work, right? I have the only 3 players with an argument, all right? And I will present their stats and their play style, right? Anonymously, and then I want to hear you guys tell me who the GOAT is. Right? I'm not looking for an objective answer. I'm looking
Okay.
to see what you guys think.
What
Okay.
the fuck happened?
And the reason why I'm
Nice.
including, you can go to the next slide, sir. Go to the next slide.
Sure.
There you
All
go.
right.
All right. So the reason why I'm including their play style and their characteristics in the court is because that's a big part of tennis and how the game is played. There's a big deal of matchups in tennis,
Right.
and tennis fans in general, they just love to consider how the player is when it comes to considering who the GOAT is. I don't give a
Mhm.
shit, me personally,
Okay.
but it's a big deal of the culture, and anyways, it's an elegant game.
Between
right?
between
So you don't.
you and I mentioned the Real Talk podcast a couple weeks ago. One of their co-hosts is a big tennis guy as well. So between you and him, I do get quite a bit of tennis discourse on my feed, and it gets kind of hostile sometimes.
Yeah, tennis fans. I mean, we're talking about in court. It's a classic game, but outside of it, it's
Mhm.
not so much at times. But anyways, here's player A. Okay, one
Okay.
of the 3. He's very versatile, very elegant and fluid in how he plays the game. Very aggressive. A
Okay.
lot of charisma and sportsmanship. All right. Now, characteristic 2. Right. He is an awesome uh playmaker in a sense that he makes things out of nowhere, or he comes back out of nowhere at points. But even when the point, because sometimes the rally is just going back and forth, and out of nowhere he just hits a winner with an amazing shot.
Mhm.
Very surprising player with an unbelievable forehand. In my opinion, the deadliest forehand of all time.
Okay.
And his serve is also considered the best of all time. So this guy, to me, he has the best serve and the best forehand of all time. He's very technical and very precise in how he plays the game. Next slide, sir.
Oh, I thought we're not answering this one yet.
We'll get to each player, and then
Okay.
I'll hear your thoughts. And we have the stats portion, so this is just purely characteristics.
Okay. I'm keeping a note
Second
of player
player,
A.
he's yes. Player B he's better at controlling the pace of the game than player A, but he's still very aggressive and a very good finisher. Okay. His movement is 1 of 1, and when I say physical in tennis, is his endurance and just how much power he puts in on his shots. So a lot of
Okay.
power, a lot of speed,
Mhm.
just all around a beast.
Sure.
And another insane forehand. His
I take
forehand,
it this is the guy who's the most entertaining.
he has an argument. He has an argument. 2 of the 3 have the on argument for the most entertaining.
Okay.
So this guy, in my opinion, player A has the best forehand objectively, but player B has something in his forehand that player A doesn't have, which is make insane shots when the point seems lost. What I mean by that is,
He's Patrick Mahomes.
sure. Player B,
All right. Cool.
player B is Patrick Mahomes.
So he's not the GOAT,
Next,
is the point. If anything we've
next
learned
slide,
from this
sir.
episode.
He's not the GOAT.
Next slide, sir. Player C is the most consistent and dominant in how he plays the game in the court. He's very
Tom
controlled.
Brady.
Okay. He makes the opponent play at his pace, and that's because he plays the high chance shot every time. He's like if an AI played tennis, it's this guy. Like
Okay.
he knows where to place the ball to give him an extra edge at winning the point. He's not trying to win the point now, but he's gonna slowly chip at you, and he's gonna win the
Attrition.
point eventually. Yes, he creates
Okay,
the
so
tension.
player C is the GOAT.
Okay,
Djokovic.
calm down. We have to get
Oh, is there
to
a
the
fourth
stats.
player?
Oh, there's the stats. There's a lot of stats. And because of this personality, he likes to play long rallies. and very durable as well, very tough. He's known for his mental toughness. All right. Why haven't you gone to the next slide yet, sir? Thank you, sir. So now here's a portion of the stats here, and it's very organized, very beautiful, right, guys? So we're gonna start from top left going down and then top right. I don't know why my
Okay, so I
co-host
was
is
right. Player
laughing.
C is the GOAT. It's Djokovic.
No.
I don't know why.
No, just keep going. Don't worry
I don't know
about it.
why my co-host is laughing.
Don't worry about it.
that
Just keep
guy.
going. You're doing great.
All right, there we go.
Probably
So
because of the gray on the right side.
No, no, it's bothering me, but that's
don't
how
know.
I'm laughing. It's just go.
I thought the gray was nice. It came
No,
in with
but
it, and I just left it.
it's giving me problems with the overlap, but it's okay. Don't worry about
Okay,
it.
cool. All right, cool. So here I'm just gonna summarize it. I'm not gonna say every single number that you guys see on the screen here, but I just want to point out the important things here.
So this is player
Uh,
A, B,
it's in
C.
order.
Okay.
A B C. It's in order for all the charts. Total Grand Slams. It goes C has the most, B is in the middle, A has the fewest. Okay. Now
What
we
is
can
a
also
Grand
see
Slam? Is it the thing you order at Denny's?
It's there you go. Yeah,
It
Okay.
is indeed.
All right.
it is
It's
indeed.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, great.
Now we can see that player B over here, highly dominant in one of the tournaments in specific, right at the French
Mhm.
Open,
Mm-hmm.
and player
I wonder
A
why.
is more so spread out.
I wonder why player B is dominant in the
Who
French
is
Open.
player B?
I've
Yeah,
got
who
I've
the
got a
hell is
good
player B?
idea of who player B might
Yeah,
be based on
who the
that.
fuck is player B, right? Yeah, I know. Player A is more so spread out, and player C also, but he's just better, right? Anyways.
Dude, I know who player B is.
Ah,
It's Serena Williams.
let's go. What the fuck is the D in the head-to-head, like in the other line?
I
I
don't
did
know. You
not
made the
construct it like
slideshow.
that. I did not construct it like that. Anyways, moving on.
Okay.
ATP Masters of 1000.
What
The
is
main thing I want to
ATP?
point out here, it's below Grand Slam. So think of Grand Slam as the NBA Finals and the ATP Masters as the end season tournament, but it's actually worthy something. It actually adds to your ranking.
Okay.
It actually matters. I
Okay.
just meant to say it's below the Grand Slam.
Sure.
It's still important, right? All right.
Got it.
It goes.
So the real comparison is the Grand Slam is like the Stanley Cup, and the ATP Tour is like the NBA Finals.
If you want to say it like that, sure. And here we have again A the fewest, B in the middle, C the most. But the main thing I want to point out here is that player B does not have a single tournament in 2 of the Masters 1000, one in Miami and one in Cincinnati. And player
It's
A does not
America.
have one in Monte Carlo, right? Player C has at least one title of every single tournament you can ever get in tennis.
So what you're
So-
saying is player C is the GOAT.
We'll get there.
Yes, he is. I know
We'll get
exactly who all 3 of these are.
The world should know. So let's
Okay.
just speed run through these.
Sure.
Head to head, just to summarize everything we're seeing here. Player C wins against both. Player B wins against one, loses to the other, and player A loses to both in the head to head. So right about now, we're all thinking that player A is worse than the 3. Right? Worse than the 2, right?
Okay.
All right.
Is this where you reveal that player A is Djokovic?
No, player A is not
No.
Djokovic.
Player A is?
Not
I'm
yet.
not going to say it.
Calm
Not
down.
yet.
Calm down. Their career match win percentage at the bottom right is very similar. And I can maybe give an explanation on why later on. But anyways,
They've won similar amount of games. They've played a similar amount of
they've
games.
won, yes, but to put it in simpler terms, player A, most of his prime, the other 2 guys were barely in the
Yes,
league yet.
That's correct. Yeah. I can
They were
concur.
barely playing it. Right, so he was in his prime and he didn't have much competition.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
He was
So
the
he won majority
guy.
of his games. Yeah, exactly. And listen, he was the guy.
So we know who's
Um,
gonna beat him.
No.
correct. And then I think a very relevant one to point out here as well is the top right, the year-end ATP rankings. Well, actually, it's another thing that I wanted to point out, but anyways,
That gives it away, but a lot of this is giving it away.
yeah. No player B never finished the year at a number one. Never. So can we? I'm not gonna talk about the career title singles. I mean, player A has more than the others, and I kind of talked about why he was in his prime, and the other two weren't even playing yet. Next slide, sir. And I think this is the last slide for the stats. Or we have another one. We have another one. Finals reached. Player it goes player C, A, B. Olympic medals. They have the exact same numbers. Player B does not have a silver. He has a bronze instead of a silver. But then A and C have both a gold and a silver. Now, player B's strongest argument, and what most people say, is that he had the best peak of all time. Look at his longest winning streak and compare it to the others.
Bro shits on the Djokovic.
Longest winning streak, I mean, that's a very formidable, right? 81 to 43 to 41. Right? You can go to the next slide, sir. This is the last one for the stats. What a beautiful slide that I've constructed here.
Yeah.
So,
I love the pixels.
And here in the left, we have total number of weeks at the ATP number one ranking, right? Player A is at 310 weeks, which, by the way, is second all time. Player B is at 209 weeks, which I believe is sixth all time, fifth all time. I'm not sure. And player C is 428 weeks, which is best of all time. Now, player A, and I forgot to include this, he had the most weeks in a row at top one, which kind of goes back to what I said of him in his
Yeah.
prime. The other two weren't. Yeah, anyways. ATP finals titles. Player B, on top of never ending the year, first, he never won an ATP finals. So now you guys may be wondering, what the fuck is an ATP finals?
Yeah,
It is a
I did
tournament.
ask. Yeah.
Yeah, so ATP finals is the tournament that takes place at the end of the year where only the top 8 players in the ranking participate. Player B never won the tournament in his career. Player A won it 6 times. Player C won it 7 titles. All right. So now with all of that being said, you can go to the next slide, sir. Submit your guesses.
Well, C
And-
is Djokovic, and then I think A is Federer, and then I don't know what B's name is.
Rafael Nadal.
My guy doesn't even know who the fuck B is.
I don't know tennis. I know you said his name before.
It was just funny.
That's mine too. It's Roger Federer is player A, player B is Rafael Nadal, and then player C is Novak Djokovic.
Yes, correct. You
Of
can
course
go
it
2
is.
slides to show that to the audience. Blank slide.
Yeah.
Now, objectively, and I'm a Djokovic guy. I think Djokovic is far and away the GOAT. If you guys disagree, and you can watch them play, you can go on YouTube and watch how they played, take your own conclusion on your favorite player. But I think objectively, if you're looking at this, in the raw numbers, I think Djokovic is definitely the GOAT. So tell me what you guys think.
It's a
I think
compelling
the
argument.
400 plus weeks at number one is fucking impressive, which makes it even crazier that Tiger Woods had 683.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, nothing I guess that's surprising. I knew the 3 right away. I mean, these are the 3 tennis players that even if you don't know tennis, you've heard them and you've heard their names for a while. Federer was the guy for a long time. All through like my adolescence, Federer was the GOAT, tennis player. And then Nadal took the crown, and then Djokovic took the crown.
Yeah, both definitely surpassed him. And now here's the thing. When Pete Sampras played, phenomenal player, by the way, had the best volley of all time. Phenomenal server as well. He when Pete Sampras played, he had 14 Grand Slams, and the narrative back then was that nobody's going to surpass that. Pete Sampras is the undisputed GOAT. Nobody's going to pass Pete Sampras.
Did
The
you bring
generation
up
after,
Patrick Mahomes is a goat?
huh?
Okay.
Okay. So, and then 3 guys just completely eclipsed, and very, very few people nowadays say Pete Sampras is the GOAT. Well, he's not. Because the thing is with tennis, it's very objective. There's very little room for guesswork.
Yeah.
It's kind of what you see because it's just them in a court. There's no so much ifs. It's just what happens. So I think that's the beauty of tennis.
So something I asked you last week, I think it was last week, where would Patrick Zweig rank among those other ones?
Yeah, there you go.
No, all right, fair enough. Okay. All right. Yeah, that was a wonderful presentation. I appreciate
Yeah.
you taking the time for that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Graphic design is my passion.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why you overlapped gray on gray.
I thought it was neat. No.
No, it was fine. Yeah, it was good. Very nice. Very nice. And you got to spill one of your passions into the show.
Now,
That's what this show is all
last thing I'll
about.
say.
Yeah.
Yes. Last thing I'll say about this is that these 3 players killed a phenomenal generation of tennis players. There have been so many good tennis players who just went absolutely nowhere because of these guys. Andy Murray, Wawrinka, Del Potro. I mean, these guys did Thomas Bjork. Like they did absolutely nothing because these guys just dominated the scene for years and years and years.
It's
So-
like
Dude,
it's like Mahomes, right? Where you have Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, but they can't get over the Mahomes hump, That's it.
It's exactly that Utah team when MJ played. They were always so super close, but they faced the Chicago Bulls and MJ, and then they just couldn't do anything. The
I
exact same
gotta,
thing.
I gotta do this for MMA. Be like, here are the 3 options for GOAT of the or of MMA. And see which one you guys
I would
say.
appreciate that. I would appreciate that because I know nothing about MMA. It's not like I wouldn't identify the names like you guys did here in this case.
Mhm.
So it would
I
be
would have
very
to do some more research in that because, like, obviously you had to do your research for the numbers, but in general, I think that I could honestly frame it in a way where, because obviously the name you guys both know is John Jones. I could probably frame it in multiple ways where John Jones is not the GOAT.
Well, I'm excited to see it.
So
okay.
You've got a deadline now, pal.
I'll have
No,
it for
I'm
next
just-
week.
I'm just kidding. Yeah. Well, awesome stuff. Fantastic. Yeah. Well done.
Beautiful.
Okay. We are approaching 2 hours here. I don't know how long this discussion will go. It's not really even a discussion. It's just a little mini game. So if we want to do it quickly, and
What is it?
I want us to play 2 truths and a lie. I want us all to come up with a couple of 2 truths. Maybe we'll do 2 rounds of this. I want 2 truths and 1 lie, and then the other 2 we'll try to figure out what the 1 lie is. Okay, so I guess I'll start since I just threw this upon you guys and give you guys a chance to think about it, and I'll give you guys 2 truths and 1 lie about me. Okay.
How about you?
All right. I am 6'2".
Okay.
I was born in San Francisco. I have never been. Oh, I'm sorry. I have been out of the country twice.
I think the third one is a lie.
I know he's been to Mexico at least once.
I think the third one is a lie.
I don't know though, because he went to Mexico recently. So he's been around. He's been on this planet for at least a
In
couple
this
decades.
planet.
Yeah, a
He's been
couple
around on this
decades.
planet
Yeah.
for a couple decades, so it's entirely possible he could have gone to another country. I know for a fact he's 6'2". That's not a
Yeah,
lie.
I'm locking
Um,
that in.
uh, fuck. What
Dude,
was
it's
the
gotta
other
be
one?
C, bro.
The
He
other
He was
wasn't born
born
in
in
San
San
the
Francisco.
other
Francisco. That's a
two
lie.
the other two is I was
That's
born
a
in San
lie.
Francisco and then I've been out of the country twice.
He wasn't born in San Francisco. That's the lie.
Where was he born?
I don't know, but he's been out of the country at least
I
once.
I wasn't
know
born.
that.
I wasn't born. But keep in mind, I did say twice.
Hmm?
That is a specific number.
Yeah, he did say
It
twice.
could
I'm
be only
saying
once.
C,
It
bro.
could be 3 or more.
You can say B if you want. I'm saying C.
Bro, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. It's B.
It's C, bro.
All right, those are your final answers. The answer is B. I was not born in San Francisco. So congratulations, Jacob. You got the one lie. Yep, 2 truths. Yes, last year I took a cruise to Mexico with my family, and then the other time I've been out of the country was on another cruise when I was 10 years old. We went. We did a Caribbean cruise. A lot of fun. So that's my
This
first.
guy's a cruiser, man.
Only twice, but the cruises are fun. Cruises are fun.
Yeah, I've been to a cruise. Yeah, they're fun.
Now, it's not the best form of travel if you're trying to really learn a place. It is you stop at a port for a few hours, you party, and then
It's rushed.
leave. But it is a fun experience, like being on the boat and like everything's catered. You're paying for all the stuff. It's a fun experience. But yeah, so that's my first set of questions. If you guys are ready, we can take a minute as well for you guys to think. But I want to hear your guys' set of questions next.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, go for it. I'm still thinking.
Okay. My first ever console was a PlayStation 2. My favorite sport growing up was football. And the
Oh, bro, choked.
I choked. Okay, let's start it over.
Yeah,
So
sure.
my first ever console that I played on growing up was a PlayStation 2. My favorite sport growing up was football. And I played 4 sports growing up.
I am
Four is such a weird number. Like,
I'm
it's got to be a truth, right?
I am fairly confident that it is B.
I think B.
Because
I think it's B. Yeah.
I have heard, or not heard maybe, but I've seen or read or heard him say multiple times over the several years at this point that we've known each other that he only got into football like in 2016 or whatever, only a few years
I'm
before
definitely
we
saying
even met
football.
him.
Yeah,
I think that is the lie, because he would have mentioned
it's
watching,
baseball. It's for sure baseball.
like he would have mentioned watching the Saints win the Super Bowl if he grew up loving football, right? So that is the lie. It's B. I'm locking that in.
It's V. I'm locking it in. Yeah, it's V.
Yeah, that is the lie.
Let's go. Yes. Fantastic.
I grew up playing on the PlayStation 2. My go-to game was MVP baseball, NCAA, dude. College baseball was so much fun to play back in the day. The nostalgia. And actually, to even more surprise, I only got into the NFL in 2017. The
There you go.
Minneapolis Miracle
I was
my
1 year off.
introduction to. Yeah, the Minneapolis Miracle was my introduction to NFL playoffs. And then I had the 2018 pass interference the year after. It's honestly a miracle I'm still a football fan.
At least, or a Saints fan at the very least. Like you chose a team of pain, right? Almost a decade after their Super Bowl. But all right, that was a fun set of questions. I'm sorry that it was so easy for us, but I do remember you mentioning that multiple times, that you're relatively recent, as far as your whole life is concerned, I guess. All right, Broofy, you have a set of a set of facts for us?
I'm thinking of one of my other statements. Okay. So give me maybe 10 seconds, because I had it in my head and I completely lost it.
Your room is blue.
Okay, I got it. Okay, I got it. All right, I got it. I got it.
Good.
All right, so I want to specialize in pediatrics in dentistry. I have already cried with the Dolphins before in a game, for good or for bad.
Oh my god.
So it's C because those first two are true.
And then the last one is baseball is my least favorite sport here in the U.S.
That's a lie, or that's
Ooh.
no, that is a lie. Yeah, that is a lie.
Is
Because his
it?
least favorite sport in the U.S. is basketball.
I don't know about that.
I guarantee you, he's had more fun watching baseball in the last year and a half than he has basketball. I guarantee it.
Oh, I don't know about that, man. But you're right, which maybe he hasn't cried.
Because
Right? Like
there's no way he likes basketball more than baseball, dude.
I think there's a way. I really think there's a way. There You're writing that one off so quick.
I guess he is a Marlins fan, so that does make sense. But
I mean, he's
Rufy,
watched
correct me
and
if I'm wrong.
go ahead.
Would you rather attend a baseball game with a friend or attend a basketball game with a friend? You're gonna choose the baseball game every time.
That's not the same question. That doesn't give us
It's not.
anything. Everybody who's
not.
been to a baseball game knows that is the best
Regardless,
professional sport to attend in person.
Regardless of how I feel, basketball versus baseball for the purposes of the two truths and a lie, I'm still probably picking baseball, just because of the environment.
Yes, exactly. That doesn't give us anything about what the
Now,
thing
don't
is.
let this add. Don't let this add to my two truths and a lie.
I'm
Okay,
not.
fine, Anthony. I'll let you. I'll switch over with you. B is the
No,
lie.
we
He
can
hasn't cried watching the
we can
Dolphins.
disagree. But man, fuck. I don't see him being a crier about football. That's my thing, right? Like, I haven't cried over football.
He said for better or worse. Something tells me when they drafted to a tear was shed. And the Grinch's heart grew 3 times that day and it shrunk an entire 6.
I gotta stick to my gun. I don't think he's cried over the Dolphins.
Okay, I'm sticking with C.
All right.
Y'all locked in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jacob's right.
Fuck. You okay? All right. Jacob's good at this game.
Um, I have cried on one occasion with the Dolphins, and it was the comeback victory against the Ravens 2 years ago.
You cried over a
That's
week
so
2 football
valid.
game? Oh,
Anthony,
of all the
Anthony.
It was
times.
one of the best games
What
ever.
what other win? What other win do I have with the Dolphins, man? The 70-20? I'm not gonna cry over a 70-20. I'm like laughing the whole game.
No, that
What am I gonna
you
cry
don't have to
for?
cry over a win though. That's my point.
Dude, that team has always been fucking like. I've
I will
never
say this.
been.
I don't think that he had like overwhelming like, oh my god, this is like such a triumphant victory. I think it's the fact that with the amount of lead changes in that last few minutes, emotions had to have been high or tense at that
It
point in
was a
time.
phenomenal game, and it was one of the very few plays, or one of the very last plays of the game,
Mhm.
that Tua had to scramble out the pocket and throw it to Waddle
Waddle.
high. Yeah, like high, and Waddle had to go to the third level to catch that. And I remember seeing Tua scrambling out, and at that time Tua was still developing as a scrambler. I'm like, oh my god, this play's fucking over, right? And then he just throws that shit up. Waddle catches it. Waddle, out of all receivers, he goes up and catches that shit and wins against Baltimore. In Baltimore, like I've never seen the Dolphins win like that up until
Alright.
that point. And then I saw the 70-20, but the 70-20 was more like
No, you're
I'm talking
trolling
shit
at that point, yeah.
to Broncos fan. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Obviously that game didn't mean shit. Don't get me wrong. I cried just because the game was at the time.
Okay.
I'm certainly not a crier. You're not wrong. I hold it in. But that was a phenomenal win to watch. And yeah, basketball is my least favorite. I'm a big basketball guy still. I love basketball.
Yeah,
Baseball was just probably more entertaining to me.
that was what was tough for me, because Jacob had a point about it. You maybe enjoying it more over the last year and a half, but you've also only been following baseball really for the last year and a half. So, yeah, all right, okay,
Yeah, it's for sure the one I understand the least. When it comes to understanding the sport, for me it goes football by far, and then
Basketball or
probably
soccer,
basketball, and I
tennis,
mean
maybe.
um I'm just including the American ones. When it comes
Oh,
to
okay.
playing and understanding, tennis is for sure the first. And then like football, but out of the four, yeah, it goes like football, basketball, hockey, and baseball.
okay, all
Fair
right.
enough.
Yeah.
My next round, two truths and one lie. I'm gonna steal a little bit from Jacob's playbook here with my first one.
Oh.
My first gaming console was a Nintendo 64. My brother
Your brother.
is 4 years younger than me.
4.
4. And the final one,
Okay.
Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, is my favorite of the
Uh,
trilogy.
Okay. Oh my God.
Wait, your brother, what was B
Ah.
again? Your brother is what?
4 years
years
younger than him. I think it's Return of the King, bro.
Anthony, when did your brother graduate high school?
Okay,
I'm
now you're just
pleading the
trying to get
fifth.
the answers out of him.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah,
Huh?
he's
I
gonna
plead
answer
the
the
fifth.
question for you, bro. You can't do that.
Nice try.
No.
First one.
Anthony is what, 22?
Yes. Yes, I can confirm that.
I think
His brother's not 4 years younger than him. His brother's got to be
younger.
closer in age.
Closer, you think? Oh wait, he has 2 siblings. Yeah, he has 2 siblings. You have a younger one.
Yes. I'm talking about the
Yeah,
older
you have
one,
a
of course.
way younger one. Yeah,
You're
okay.
talking about Matthew, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Matthew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think he's right about Matthew. I think Matthew's okay. I think Matthew's okay.
So then the lie would be Fellowship or Nintendo 64.
See, I also don't think that he's a Nintendo 64 guy. I think he was a GameCube guy, but I
Hey,
can't
but it
fucking
was.
remember.
How do you know that? It's his very first console.
Dude, he's 22. What 22-year-old had a Nintendo 64?
Maybe Anthony.
In
Maybe.
2003?
Maybe.
That was
Well,
when he was born. In 2007, no
I was
shot,
1
dude.
year old in 2003.
Sorry. But- So he was 4 in 2006. You're telling me in 2006 you're using a 64?
Hey, what, baby?
Dude, these are all lies. You gave us 3 lies.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I think something about the
This
third
is
one,
so
man.
good. Good job, Anthony.
Now, if you
Oh.
said the 2 towers, I would have said that was a lie. But Fellowship, Fellowship and Return of the King. Obviously, 2 towers also has an argument, but the two of them
I'm
have the strongest
99.
argument.
See, the other two I feel like are lies, but I'm also like 95% sure that his favorite Lord of the Rings movie is
I think it's Return of the King.
I think is Return of the King. So I'm gonna lock in C just because it's the one I'm most confident in is a lie. But I think I'm not. I have no fucking clue. I think they're all lies. I know they're not, but like I feel like they're all lies.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with C as well. I'm going with C as well.
Imagine if I fucking imagine if I did that. All 3 are lies. All right, so you're both locking in C. You guys both,
Yeah.
I assume, think that Return of the King is my favorite.
Return of the King. Yep. Yeah.
The lie is B. Matthew's 2 years younger than me, not 4.
He
Fuck,
knew it.
bro.
Fuck, dude.
Man.
Uh,
Yeah,
And
it's so
I'm now
reasonable.
my
to
I
have
now
Fellowship.
maybe
I was
maybe
fairly
the
confident that
one.
me and Matthew were the same age.
Yeah. Maybe C is a little unfair because it was Return of the King, but when I rewatched them a few months ago, I changed my favorite. I decided it was Fellowship. So maybe that's a little unfair.
Yeah,
But
I've had it happen to me as well, so
yeah.
that's okay.
Now as far as the consoles, the N64 that I played on was my mom's console, and that was my first technically. Then right after was the Nintendo Wii, and the DS. Nintendo guy in my youth.
There you go.
So there you go. All right. I'm glad I stumped you
Okay.
guys with that one.
I got
You
mine.
next. Yeah, there you go.
I
That's
got
good.
mine.
Cool.
All right.
Okay. Okay. My most played as far as time spent on the video game of all time.
It's not Balacho.
My most played video game of all time is Call of Duty Black Ops 3. My
Sure.
are you sure?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
My favorite thing to cook is fried rice.
Bro,
And
you gotta be an NPC if that's true, bro.
and then I never played a Modern Warfare Call of Duty from like
These
the
are
original
like
3.
these are all lies, bro.
No, the third one, there is no shot.
It's gotta be third one. But third one is too obvious to be
'Cause,
true.
okay,
I'm not gonna say C just because of that.
It does feel like it's too obvious.
Let me clarify because there's a lot of remakes on the Modern Warfares. So I
You mean
didn't
1
play
through
a single
3,
Modern
right?
Warfare game. I didn't play a single Modern Warfare game until the bundle deal with Infinite Warfare came
So the
out
remastered
with
in
that one.
2016.
Yes,
Okay, so
that
the
was my first
original
experience with
3.
Modern Warfare.
The original 3.
Yep.
Okay. It does feel too good to be true, but that's also like 3 iconic COD games. COD 4 was probably too early for him. MW2, even for someone it was too early for, most people have gone back to that game, right? And 3 would have been probably about the age where he was into shooters or starting to get into them, right? That's what my problem is. He may have just missed it. Now, the thing is that if it makes sense though if Black Ops 3 is his most played, and I know that at least as far as that franchise is concerned, Black Ops 3 is his most played. So, but is it his most played game of all time? Because that game came out in 2015. That's a lot of time invested.
I'm calling it.
What's your? What are you thinking?
Hey,
You think
I'm locking it in. I'm locking it in.
Oh man, what would the alternative games be though? I like Ark. Has he played enough of Ark for it to?
He's played a lot of it,
but for enough for it to outlast Black Ops 3.
I don't know about that, but
okay. Look, it might be too good to be true, but I'm gonna stick with the one that sounds the most like a lie, and take C. Never played.
I have never played a single Modern Warfare game from the original trilogy.
There you go.
Because
there you go.
I'm such a big fan of Treyarch, which is why fried rice is the lie.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No way you.
No,
wow, that rug pull.
The
That
lie
would have
is
been
Black Ops
fucking.
3.
That rug pull would have been insane. Wow.
The lie is Black Ops 3.
Okay.
It's my second most played game of all time. You guys still
Fuck.
haven't said my most played game of all time.
I have no idea then.
I think you've.
Unless it's like
I've
Wii
said it
Sports.
Definitely not Wii Sports. I've logged over 100 days game time on this game.
Minecraft, Lego Star Wars, Lego
Isn't
Batman.
Dead by Daylight?
Bingo,
Fuck.
Dead by Daylight.
100 days?
There you go. Yep.
Holy shit.
Dude,
I told you.
I played Dead by Daylight for like 8 hours a day, every single day in the summer of 2019 or 2020.
I used to play it a lot as well.
How long is your playtime in Black Ops 3?
Roughly 45 days. 45 days.
Oh my god, it wasn't even close. Holy shit.
Yeah,
and it's
I know.
almost, I think, like 38 to 39 of the days game time is just zombies.
I guess, yeah. I guess for me that I would never have guessed you have 100 days in a single game. I mean, that's 4 months basically nonstop of one game. That's obscene. That's crazy.
You have to think with Dead by Daylight, it originally came out on PC in like what 2016, right?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, June 14th of 2016, and then a year later it released on Xbox. I had it pre-ordered 4 months out from its release on Xbox because I had so much fun watching it on YouTube. Um, and so from 2016 to 2020, the only game that I played consistently outside of Dead by Daylight was Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and then occasionally Ark. My issue with Ark is that it's either too easy or too difficult and there's no balance. The only way that you can play Ark is either with too many boosters or not enough boosters. And so when you don't have enough boosters, the game is too grindy and takes too long and it's not enjoyable. Or if you play with too many boosters, you end up getting to max level and getting everything you want to do in the game set done within like 2 days game time. So it's not a good game. I like Ark because it fills a niche of dinosaur survival game that you can tame dinosaurs. Like obviously that's fun. Like there's satisfaction in doing that. But the core gameplay is not repetitive or not good in a repetitive manner.
Okay. I'm still blown away by 100 days. I think I get your explanation, but I still think you're underselling like how big of like an achievement I so to speak that is. That is crazy. 100 days. At least in my opinion. Maybe Broofy disagrees.
Well,
I have games of the same play time.
100 days.
he's
I don't even
he's
know.
probably played Elder Scrolls Online that much.
Not on PC, but if you include my PC time with my PS4 time, PlayStation time, yeah, probably. Elder
My
Scrolls
cousin
Online,
Justin has over 250 days game time on GTA 5.
you see, that's just mental illness. I'm sorry.
That
It's like the only game he plays.
that's 8 to 9 months. That's 8 months. Wow.
Yeah, Dead by Daylight's the only game I have over 2,000 hours on. I feel like 2,000 hours is the benchmark for like you're a little bit of a virgin for playing that game. And so I'm a little bit of a virgin for how much I've played Dead by Daylight.
We should play
All right.
2v8.
Huh?
We should play 2v8.
I do not fuck with 2v8.
I have to try it. I don't know. What?
I'm trying to think of what games I have that would even come close. Let me go on my controller real quick.
I mean, maybe I've actually logged 100 days on a couple games, but I don't have any way of measuring that. The games would be Wii Sports and Minecraft. Minecraft based on how many different platforms I've played it on, but I only have about a month on my Xbox. Now Wii Sports could be a lot, but I have again no way of measuring that just because I spent my whole childhood and I still play it occasionally because it's just such a great game. Wii's an awesome
Wii
console.
Sports is fun. What's your go-to on Wii Sports?
Bowling. Golf is underrated. I like golfing on Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort.
Really, bowling is your go-to?
Yeah,
See, I think
it's
on
the
Wii
quickest
Sports
game.
Resort, my favorite. What's your favorite on Wii Sports Resort?
Uh, it might be golf or disc golf.
Holy shit, I have
Basketball's
22
fun.
days game time on Rocket League.
22.
Gross.
It's a lot. We haven't played that in years. Have you even touched it since?
Okay. I played it I played occasionally. Xbox must have fucked up my stats because it's saying I only have 6 days game time on Black Ops 3, and I know for a fact that's a lie.
Hmm.
Because like whenever I go into the game, like I'm pretty sure they have a timer in game, and it's way higher than that. But I know for a fact I've played more Black Ops 3 than most games.
Yeah. Yeah, 6 sounds wrong.
6
For
is
sure.
objectively wrong. There's
Yeah.
no way that's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, good
Arc,
job.
for example, Arc is at 32 days game time, so maybe I've played more Arc than BO3, but I highly doubt it.
Okay. Well, all
Okay.
right.
Roofy,
Well done. You got
keep
me
this in a
again.
lie?
Yeah.
Hell
Let's hear
Oh, again, I'm only missing one. Okay.
Sure.
Because I want to have good ones. I'm not just creating
Yeah.
some shit.
You want to be like me.
Okay.
I thought I did good
guess.
with the Modern Warfare one.
It was
No,
good.
you did.
Yeah.
I guess the thing with that one was it was a little too good to be true, which is why we both said that, but I did still opt for it because I don't know,
Yeah.
the odds game, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking around in my room to think of a good one.
He's
Dude,
he's
you know what
looking around
blows
his
my
room. It's
mind?
so funny.
All right,
Dude, you
I
know what
think
blows my mind? There are people who have 2,000 hours on College Football 25.
what?
Yeah.
It's a good game.
It
It's a
Well,
just
really
came
good game,
out.
but 2,000 hours
right.
already?
It just came
I only
out.
had 2,000 hours already.
I know that's what's crazy. Like Bordeaux, the YouTuber, he's approaching 3,000 hours game time on it. And
That's
like
crazy.
I get that you make content off of it, but how?
Well, that
I
means
know, right?
he's playing it outside of content too. That would be
Yeah.
you know what I mean. All right.
Yeah, has to be. Sorry, Rufi, go ahead.
Yeah. I'll go very slowly because I'm still processing my third one because I already forgot it. What was it? I'm blanking out.
Cue the Jeopardy music. If I edit this one.
Do do do
Dun,
do
dun,
do
dun,
do
dun,
do.
dun, 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 dun,
Dude, you guys want to know
dun,
something
dun,
crazy?
What's that?
I
dun,
have
dun,
on
dun.
Xbox, I have 35 friends that have over 40 days game time on Dead by Daylight, and I'm only ranked 11th. There are 10. I have 10 friends with over 150 days game
Okay, I
time.
got it, guys.
Oh my god.
I got it, guys.
All
Go
right,
for it.
let's hear it.
So, the player that made me fall in love with the NFL was Cam Chancellor.
That's true.
My favorite game of all time is Bloodborne.
That's also true.
Okay. And what the fuck was the other one, bro? Literally just
You
had
forgot
it
the
in my
lie.
head, bro.
What
I
was the
literally just
lie?
had
I'm
it
really
in my head,
struggling to
bro.
find the lie,
I,
guys.
I literally just had it in my head, bro. But that is unbelievable.
Dude
I just
forgot the
had it.
lie.
I just had it.
You just need to make a fact
Like I
about
literally
yourself.
had it.
Make a fact about yourself and then fib a little. That's what I did with both of mine.
Oh my god. I'm tired, guys. It's gotta be. Oh yeah, I remember it. I once got paid to play games.
Fuck, that's also true.
Okay, this is my thought now. Cuz he was a streamer for a time and he could have definitely gotten a sponsorship for a small game. I could totally see that.
Or
Small.
just received a single donation.
Well, I don't think that's what he means. Is that what you mean?
I meant that I used to play semi-professionally
Okay.
and I got
Okay.
paid for it.
Okay. What game would he have played semi-pro?
Valorant. In this context, Valorant.
Okay. Yeah, that would have been one of my thoughts. Okay. So he was at one point he was a semi-pro Valorant player. That's the fact at this point. Basically. That's what I'm leaning from that. He grew to love the NFL because of Cam Chancellor, and then the other one was
Shout out Kim Chancellor.
what?
The shout
Was the-
out Kim Chancellor.
Oh, okay.
What was the second one?
Second one is Bloodborne is my favorite game
That's
of all
right.
time.
That's right.
Okay, that one's a lie.
Oh, but
B is a lie.
he would. I mean, even today, because of the state of
He tweeted
state of play,
about it, yeah.
he was really mad that they didn't announce anything. So I don't know. I really think that could be his favorite game.
Oh,
What?
it could be, but it's also the other two I know are true. So B is the lie.
But what if Cam Chancellor's a red herring?
Cam Chancellor's not a red herring.
It
We
could
talked
be.
about
It could
this.
be one of his favorite players, but not the reason. You know what I mean?
No, I know this is the reason. Trust me. It
All
was Legion of Boom, AJ and Big Justice. Cam Chancellor brought the boom, and that's what made him love football.
All right, we'll shoot B
Mm.
then. It really
It is B.
sounds
My favorite game of all
legitimate, yeah.
time is Elden Ring.
Really, Elden Ring now. Okay.
Bloodborne is my very second favorite game of all time. Elden Ring is my favorite game of all time. Third one is probably Elder Scrolls Online, so it's right there.
Mm.
Yeah, third one is true. I still want to be a streamer. I just have no time for it right now,
Mm-hmm.
and stream occasionally.
Mhm.
Um, but just to tweak my answer there, because I didn't want to say the game I was actually getting paid for, it would have given it away that
It
it was
wasn't
true.
Valorant.
I definitely played Valorant semi-professionally.
Oh.
Well, collegiate, which is considered like semi-professional.
Yeah.
Um, I was getting paid to play Smite. If I told you
Okay.
I was getting paid to play Smite, you guys would have called it true. It's too niche. If I said Smite,
I don't.
you know what I mean?
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, yeah, I was getting paid to play Smite. That was
It just made sense because of your background. Really, that's what it
I've
came
also
down
literally never seen gameplay of Valorant. I don't give a fuck about that game.
I actually used to play Valorant a lot, which hence what I said I did play it
to.
semi-professionally,
It's a
collegiate.
Fortnite
But
CS:GO.
the thing with Smite, yeah, no, not Fortnite, not Fortnite. Um, Smite on console about 4 years ago, it had a very popular scene, believe it or not. That was growing,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember I was playing ranked, and I mean I was a decent player, obviously back in the day. And this random guy messaged me, was like, "Oh, trying to build a team and whatever the fuck." And I thought it was a fucking scam at first because why the fuck is this guy reaching out to me?
Yeah.
Suddenly he was like, play with these buddies. We're gonna make a tournament next week, whatever. I played the tournament and I get paid for it. I was shocked. That happened maybe twice or something, but it happened.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah,
Um,
it was quite fun. It was very fun.
I can go for one more round.
Let's hear
Yeah,
it.
if Anthony's down, yeah.
Okay. I played Pokemon competitively for 2 years. My
2 years.
coach's nickname for me, my high school baseball coach, his nickname for me was Dimer.
Dimer.
And then number 3, my favorite video game when I was growing up was Castle Crashers.
I have never heard you talk about that. I am calling C.
He's mentioned Castle Crashers before,
I've never heard it,
but
so that's why I'm going C.
I don't think it would have been his favorite. But
Uh,
see, like the nickname Dimer is like it feels too specific.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about it. I just believe it to be true. And then A, 2 years.
Pokemon competitively. He's
Maybe
a
it
big.
was a year.
He's a
Maybe it
for
was
two
a year
years.
though.
He's a big
But
Pokemon
maybe it
guy
was a
though.
year.
He's a big
Maybe it was
Pokemon
3 years.
guy.
Why 2 years? Why not at
Two.
least 2 years? Why
Yeah.
2 years?
Yeah. The number ones are always tough.
I don't know.
Fuck.
I'm
Hmm.
probably calling C is also very niche, right?
Yeah. They're all very specific, which is good. Well done. Man.
I'm calling. Fuck.
That
I'm
is a
calling A,
really tough
bro.
one.
I don't think it's 2 years. I'm calling A. I think it's maybe 1, maybe 3, maybe 4, but man, 2 is why 2? Maybe it was 2. And I'm a moron, but I'll say A.
No, I think
You said it, not me.
man, I'm yeah, I have to agree. I think the numbered ones are tough always. So I'm going to say that that's a lie as well, and it's maybe 3 years. I've he's definitely mentioned Castle Crashers before, so that could be true for sure. And then yeah, the nickname I think is definitely a truth. I'd be surprised if that was a lie to lie about a nickname. So yeah, I'm locking in A.
Rufy, you said A as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the lie. Um, I played competitive Pokemon through Gen 6 and Gen 7. Gen 8 was when I kind of fell out of love with the game. Um, I was huge in the single format, so not a high amount of like competitive options in like local competitions,
Mm-hmm.
but I did do online competitions in singles format because mostly like competitive Pokemon for like battle engaging, not necessarily like trading card because I didn't do trading cards, is typically handled in VGC format, which is duos. I don't like playing doubles. So I played singles online.
All right.
Goated.
And how many years?
I played for 4 years.
Okay, so
So
it was
from
more.
Gen 6 through Gen 7.
Uh,
Yeah.
All right.
Goated.
Excellent. Well done. We got it right, Barufi.
Yeah, let's
Can
go.
you guess where I got the nickname Dimer from?
I was trying to think about that when hashing out whether it could be true or not. I really don't know.
What position? What position do you play again?
I was a starting center fielder and I pitched occasionally.
So center fielder. I mean,
Accuracy on
yeah,
throws.
maybe this one throw home you had, and then the guy, and then coach was like,
No.
"Fucking
What it
dimer."
really is, it's about the soda machine in the locker room. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, I have
No,
no
I
idea.
wish it was something cool like I threw a guy out at home. Actually, fun fact about my junior year of high school, we were 1-19. Um, I I didn't win a single game my junior year because the one game we won, I got ejected from.
What a moron.
But that wasn't the fun fact. The fun fact is I threw out 5 different people at first base from right field whenever I was playing right field.
Okay, so it was about
My
throwing.
jun- No, it wasn't. That wasn't how I got the nickname. That's just a fun fact about my junior year. I
Well,
got the nickname Dimer because I wore the number 10.
well, that's fucking boring. I'm sorry. That's
No, it's
hilarious, though.
so boring.
That's hilarious. I was
My
hoping it was a
dad's
funny
nickname
story, but
No, my dad's nickname for me was Ace, because of Giordano Ventura. I took after him like inspirationally. I thought like I looked up to him entirely.
Mhm.
So my nickname for my dad is Ace, and he still calls me Ace to this day. Hence my profile picture, Ace.
Yeah. All right. Very, very cool. Murphy, are you ready for yours? Or should I come up with mine quickly?
I can come up with mine quickly.
Okay.
Um. Okay.
Okay.
I just cracked my back. So. Okay. Dark is my favorite show of all time.
Ooh. It's at
I
least
swear to
top
fucking
3.
God, if that's your favorite show, you're such a virgin.
It's at least top
Oh.
3. At least. Okay.
All right. Okay. I have. When I was 5 years old in Brazil, I had a gun pointed to my head.
Jesus. All right.
And death metal is my favorite music genre.
Okay.
Okay, so here's my diagnostics. One, B is very, very deep of a thing to say and have it not be true. So I don't think it's B.
But he could have lied about the
I
age. He could have been 7.
see. I don't know. I've had a gun held to my head before, and me personally, I wouldn't think to lie about that age whenever I was like telling like when that happens, it's a highly traumatic experience. So like whenever you talk about it, it's kind of hard to lie about it because you're just like reliving the moment. But he could be bullshitting. I don't know. But I don't think it's an age thing. If he's lying about it, I just think it didn't happen. But I do think that happened. I'm leaning A here. I think The Dark is probably not his favorite show. It's just one of his top shows, and that was the like misleading thing. Obviously, Death Metal is also in that same category of like, oh well, it's in his top 3, but is it his favorite? But I'm gonna lean with A. I don't think Dark is his favorite show of all time. I think it's Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, man, I did say that going in. It really, Dark could be number 3 or number 2, but it's not number 1. And number 1 could be a Peaky Blinders. It could be a Game of Thrones. It could be Breaking Bad. You know what? I just thought of Game of Thrones as I was talking about that, and I think that might be your favorite show ever. Fuck. I I'm confident in C unless you really like another subgenre of metal more. I would be surprised because you do talk about death metal so much on Twitter. But like it could be like black metal instead. But I do think it's death metal. So I'm gonna go A as well, even though again he could be lying about the age. I think that's something that Broofy would do. Lie about the age. He wasn't 5, he was 6 or 7. I think all
Oh,
three are
man.
lies. No. Okay. I'm doing A and I think it's Game of Thrones.
All right, can I tell you guys something?
Sure.
Go for it.
I am a certified moron, and let
He
me
did
tell you
2 lies
why.
and a truth.
You told us
2 lies
I
and a
did two
truth.
lies
told
and
us
a truth.
3
I
truths.
did 2 lies. And you know what's worse? And you know what's worse? You guys picked the truth.
Fuck. Oh.
So death metal is absolutely one of my very favorite metal genres. Um, I think my favorite music genre is still probably progressive metal.
Oh.
Um,
Wow, I'm surprised. I'm really surprised.
I mean, think about it. Think about it, right?
I
Um,
get it.
if I
I
I
was
get
really
rank,
it.
hoping this guy's favorite TV show would be
if
fucking
I
Death.
rank my 5 favorite bands of all time, and obviously I listen to so many bands and so many different genres.
Yeah.
But 2 of my 5 are progressive metal bands,
Okay.
and Porcupine Tree and Opeth, and the other 3 are different genres. So, anyways, probably progressive metal.
It makes sense.
Big
I
death
get
metal
that.
guy,
Yeah.
obviously. I was 2 years old when I had a gun
2.
pointed to my head.
I
I
didn't
was 2
see it
years
being
old.
younger. I did not see it being younger.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was 2 years old, and yeah, Dark is my favorite show of all time.
All right. Well, then the other in the top 3, it must be Game of Thrones, one of them, and then the other one is either Breaking Bad or Peaky Blinders, right?
Yeah, Game of Thrones. You guys said my favorite 4 is right there, for sure. Peaky
All right.
Blinders, Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones. Yeah,
Another good one. Well
for
done.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit.
Would have been better if I'd said progressive metal at C, right? Maybe. I'm halfway through. I thought of changing it, but then it just fucked shit up, right?
Then it would have been weird because then we would have
Yeah,
known that it was other.
yeah.
Yeah.
It just fucked shit up. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Tough one. Okay. It's all right though. We accept your apology that you didn't give. Uh,
I do I
no,
do apologize.
no,
I do apologize.
I'm fine. But
I just thought it was funny,
yeah,
and I was stalling shit already. And now here's the thing, right? And then I'm gonna branch off of another thing here. I was gonna do 2 dark statements because I talked about the gun to my head, and I was gonna talk about another one that happened to me in Brazil. But then it was gonna be too dark. So as I was gonna say it, I changed to death metal. So that's why it ended up being a lie.
gotcha. That
Because
okay.
you were
So there you have it.
there.
Jeez. All right. Well, I'm sorry that happened to you at 2 years old. That's really unfortunate. I mean,
Listen, it's. I think if you ask 10 Brazilians if they ever had any sort of experience, I'm expecting at least 3 to say they've had some serious, you know.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
You know,
So what
I'm
you're saying
lowballing
is
it.
I'm the
I'm
exciting.
lowballing it. Huh?
You guys know the meme where it's like liquor store and like the section where they have exciting white wines.
yeah, exciting
Yep.
whites. Yeah.
So yeah, so me having that same experience, albeit at 12 years old instead of 2, I'm one of the exciting whites because it's less common.
All right. Okay. 2 truths
Definitely a fun
and 1
experience.
lie. Encore performance.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Kendrick Lamar was your favorite halftime performance.
It was good. I don't know. I haven't seen all the halftime performances. Okay. Han Solo is my favorite Star Wars character. It's number 1. Number 2, my favorite food is pizza. Number 3, my favorite color is green.
I'm calling C.
Um,
Well, he does have a lot of green on his wall.
I have a lot of blue, red, and yellow
This
as
is-
well.
You definitely do.
see, I don't imagine his favorite color being green, given
I mean, look at
that
his teams, right?
Yeah, I was
None of them
about to
are
say
green.
none of his sports
Yeah.
teams are green. So it'd be odd. Although he is a big fan of photography and green is symbolic of nature, and he doesn't really take much pictures of green though.
No,
on his
he's more of an
Instagram
urban guy,
profile.
right?
Yeah, he's more urban and like neon lights and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Really good at it, really talented
I know, right?
photographer.
I'm calling
Um,
C.
I want to think about this a little more. So process of elimination. Han Solo is I want to say a weird pick, but it's not a pick I would take. It's not someone I would put in my top 5 favorite characters in Star Wars.
Hmm.
Um,
What was the second one?
Interesting. My favorite food is pizza.
that one's
Ye-
true.
Yeah, that's got to be true.
Um, and then like rounding out his top 3 is like steak and a cheeseburger.
What if it's tacos?
It's not tacos, it's pizza.
Like, listen,
I know it's pizza.
the guy went to Mexico. Maybe, hey, hey.
Dude, there was a solid like 3-month span where carne asada was my favorite food because I went to one Mexican cookout and it changed my life.
Yeah, I love Mexican food. Holy shit.
Um, I am gonna go with Han Solo as the lie. Although I'm more confident in green being the lie, I have a suspicion that it's Han Solo as the lie.
I think it's C. I'll go with C.
So you're locking in A and C.
Yeah.
The lie is Han Solo. Han Solo is not my favorite character. My favorite character I'm wearing right now.
Darth Vader.
Yeah. Han Solo is number 2,
How do we
though.
ju- how
Han
do we
Solo
just
is number
overlook that?
2.
Okay.
I love Harrison Ford. So yeah, Han
I've
Solo
met him.
naturally is going to be really.
Mhm.
Holy shit! Tell us
His
more.
favorite restaurant in Wichita, Kansas is Doodah Diner. I worked there for 4 months, and I was lucky enough to be working a shift whenever he came in one day. I didn't get to have an extended interaction with him, but he's a very pleasant individual.
Oh well, that's great to hear. I love Harrison Ford. He's great.
Nice.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, Han Solo, my second favorite character in Star Wars. Indiana Jones is one of my favorites of all time in general. He's done a lot of awesome work in 80s and 90s crime thrillers as well, like The Fugitive. uh, Witness is one of the more underrated ones, I think. But yeah, there you go. All right, yeah, green is my favorite color. I decided that when I was like 3, uh, and haven't changed really.
Nice. Nice.
Just kept it. And the reason my sports teams none of them have green is just because they're all San Francisco or Bay Area based teams, and I grew up watching those teams, so that was what I assumed basically. And then pizza, yeah, it's a really tight race at the top, but I think the one that I get the most satisfaction out of every time I eat it is pizza. I eat burgers a little too much, so sometimes it's not as satisfying. Good steak is also always awesome. Tacos are great. A lot of food is awesome, guys. Let's just
Wait, so did I actually get your other top 3?
I would need to deliberate. There are like 6 or 7 things that are contending there, but pizza's definitely the one right now that's my favorite. Probably has been.
I do find it
most of my
rather
life.
funny that Brew, called me an NPC for saying that fried rice is my favorite thing to make because it's so convenient and
It is very convenient.
it's such an easy
I
meal to
didn't shit on
make.
you for it. I love fried rice.
Dude, it's such an easy meal to make, but on top of that, it's like the best comfort food for me because I am a fucking sodium whore. I am a fat, dirty slut for some salt. So
Look,
anything stir fry, I am all on board.
yeah, fried
I
rice is
want to do
great.
another one.
Okay, go ahead.
I thought of some really good. I thought of some really good ones.
All right, one last one.
I'm missing a third, per usual. Okay. But I got some really good ones. Okay. Okay, I got it.
You've met Harrison Ford.
I definitely did not meet Harrison
Oh.
Ford. No. Okay. I personally think Prime Among Us was better than Prime Fortnite.
Agreed.
Yeah, yeah. Are
So
we?
that's
Is this
so
an
Is that
that's
a
agree
my
or
hot take?
disagree segment? All right, but he
no.
might
That's
disagree.
that's my opinion. It's
Yeah,
my it you know it in the purpose of
yeah.
this
He
is my
might not
opinion.
think
So you
that.
have to say if I'm lying.
Right.
Yeah. So my second one. Okay. Organic chemistry was my favorite subject in university.
Hmm.
And the country that I want to visit the most is Finland.
The
Hmm.
lie is organic chemistry. That's probably a class that he fucking hated, and that's what made him think to bring it up on this.
I think I'm kind of with you here. Ironically enough, Finland is a country that I'd really like to visit as well. So I understand the appeal of wanting to go there, but at the same time, like that he most wants to visit, it really could be something else. It could be another South American country. It could be a
I really
Mediterranean.
want to visit Tokyo.
Yeah, it could be Japan, right? That one's really tough because there are 200 other options, right? Um, but yeah, organic chemistry is a tough one. I feel like if it was one of his favorite subjects, he might have changed his major, right? I don't know. Don't you think? Like if you took a class like that in college and you absolutely loved it, like I think most people would change directions. I don't know.
Yeah, but there's also probably a whole umbrella of things that he had to learn about in organic chemistry that also just probably didn't apply to what he's going to be practicing.
No, I get that. That's why my point is if you loved the class that much, most people would pivot, right? They would change majors or especially if they're obviously in an undergraduate program. Um, hmm. And then the first one, what was the first one again? Specifically?
I I think Prime Among Us was
That's
better
right.
than Prime Fortnite.
And that's just a fact.
I think most people at that point, yeah, I think most people really, really liked Among Us a lot more than I don't
Dude,
know.
I had so
Fuck.
much fun playing Among Us with the boys. The Iced Out Vibes fucking Discord.
Yeah,
So much fun.
good times. But
Getting banned from the group for 4 months.
but Barufi is like hmm. I'm really stumped on this one. I'm really stumped. Careful, don't get your eye.
I hit my head just now.
I saw that. Okay, so you're going with B, right?
Yes.
Oh man. I don't think this is it, but I think it'd be really funny if I got it right. So I'm gonna go with A. I'm logging that in.
You guys locked it in?
Yeah,
We
It's
both
not
got it
A.
wrong again.
It's not
okay.
It's B.
A.
That's fine.
It is not B. I love organic chemistry. And I'll tell
Okay,
you why I didn't pivot, Anthony. So the lie
sure.
was C. Finland is in my top 5.
I
There,
figured.
Norway's the country.
Yeah, for their
Norway's
metal
the
scene,
country.
for their metal scene. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely Norway. And I just the mountains,
Yeah.
the high marks. I love it. So the reason why I didn't change majors to organic chemistry, and I thought about it. I love organic chemistry, and I almost changed it with genetics as well. I did research in genetics. I love genetics. The reason why I didn't change is I think by the time I finished my freshman year of university or beginning of sophomore, and I haven't taken genetics or organic chemistry yet, I was already locked in and doing dental school. Like I love dentistry. I was thinking about it for a while now, and I was set on it. And by the time I took orgo, or by the time I started taking genetics and orgo, I would have to retake so many classes and take so many other
So
classes. It would
it was
delay my graduation.
yeah, it was later down the road
Yeah, yeah,
than like a
yeah. It would really delay my graduation. But I told my mom and my girlfriend multiple times if I have to have a plan B and a plan C, if in case dental school doesn't work. And one of those plans is doing a master's in like organic chemistry, for instance, and getting into research, or working a lab for it or something. I love organic chemistry.
Very cool.
Thought it was fascinating.
Chemistry is one of those courses actually that I enjoyed a little bit more than I expected to. And I mean, I haven't taken a chemistry class in college, but in high school, the very general stuff that you learn in there, it was interesting.
Mhm.
I think the the makeup of things is pretty cool to learn. So
Yeah.
all right,
I love biology, and biology obviously has patterns that you identify through
yeah,
biological processes and whatnot. But it's less application than chemistry and orgo. So when you apply those concepts and you see it, your work prevailing in those fields, bio is more memorization and stuff. So that's why it's not as rewarding
right,
as the other two. But yeah.
very cool. Yeah,
All
man,
right.
I could have made an argument for all three of those. That was another good one.
I thought you guys were gonna give me more shit for the Prime Among Us one. I thought that was gonna be a hot take.
No,
It would be a hot take for a majority of the population, not for us, dude. I don't think you realize how much fun we had with our Among Us groups.
well, he didn't
Yeah,
because he
Prime Among
wasn't
Us
he
was.
wasn't there. But yeah, that was so much fun. I never got into Fortnite. I played a little bit of it in like the very first season of the game, but just it was never for me. I preferred other battle royales at the time.
Now, what if I said I prefer Lethal Company over Phasmophobia? What would you guys think?
I think that's a lie. I think you prefer Faz for sure.
I
What do
don't
you think,
know. I
Anthony?
I think I think the whimsy of Lethal Company is a great asset to the game. So I think
Great, great asset.
you might actually prefer Lethal Company. I That makes
I
sense.
I love both. I love both games. But
Both are great games.
Phasm I think applies just appeals to me a little bit more. Like it's moody, it's dark.
Sure.
I
See,
don't know.
I like Faz because it takes more critical thinking. And I don't really have that in most video games I play. Most video games I play are just
Lethal Company is more laid back, right? It's more relaxed. I love Lethal
yes.
Company. Lethal Company is super fun.
I guess that's
And
what
I enjoy critical thinking in games. Like I really want to play Risk again. I haven't played Risk at all in like
yeah.
Dude,
years, and I
look what
really
I
want
have.
to play.
Hold on. Look what I have.
That's kind of funny though that you mentioned that because for board games and tabletops, I definitely like strategy stuff a lot more. But in a video game, I love the that's
Hell
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hell yeah. Upside down. There we go.
This is the Lord of the Rings one.
Yeah. Show us the map.
This is the regular one. I'll
Yeah.
show you the map.
Um, but like in a video game, I don't know, like the whimsy of Lethal Company, the ragdoll physics and how scuffed
Oh,
it
it's
can get.
so much.
I
See,
like Phasmo too. Don't get me wrong as well, but um,
oh, that's glorious.
that's cool.
This
See,
is the map.
see, I think that I think that there's been more clip-worthy things in Lethal, but I think my favorite clip-worthy moment that we've had playing a video game together is actually fairly recently. Is when
Isaac
we
and
were
Foley.
playing. It was when we were playing Faz,
I think I know exactly
and
what you're talking about.
and I said, "Hey, do you guys want to see the ghost?" And then immediately I die.
Yeah.
That, have you made a clip of that yet?
No, I'll find it for you though.
Dude, that was so fucking funny.
The one
Dude,
recently,
that last session of Faz, we had so many good clips.
yeah, the one recently as well that I know you, I remember dying in this clip and you laughed hysterically because the the ghost had found me in one of the closets in the bedroom and I started doing the victory screech as I died and when I came back from the death cutscene and everything, you were
Dude,
wheezing,
just
dude.
me dying.
Yeah, so that was funny, but yeah, both a lot of fun.
Dude, yeah, both are great games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I think, ladies and gentlemen, we are at our. I want to coin a new term for the podcast where other performers and most people have their curtain call. I think that we should have our coastal call. This is
Postal
going to
call
be
right
where
here.
we are call our viewers to action. Give us some likes and comments, and subscribe down below on the Astronaut YouTube channel if you do enjoy listening to our banter. I feel like we have quite a bit of fun here week in
Yeah.
week out, providing consistent quality content. So this is our coastal call to action, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening to our
Postal call.
podcast.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Goated.
The support recently has been awesome. We really appreciate it. We just like talking, and hopefully you guys like to hear us talk too. You know, and now that the NFL season's over, we're gonna get more of us, I guess. You know, and less of just one subject, which is always awesome too. And this was a nice exercise as well. You know, um, we know a fair bit about each other, but we're also fairly new friends, and we've only been talking like this for a couple years now, and so doing something like this to get to know more about each other is also a lot of fun. So
There you
Yeah, how else would I have found out that Rufy almost got shot?
go. So backstory to that was my grandpa was getting
I
robbed.
take it we ended the recording, right?
no, do you want me to?
Oh, it doesn't matter. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I didn't think you ended.
Okay.
A backstory to that was my grandpa was getting robbed, and he was getting me out the car because. All right. Long story short, I slept at my grandpa's house or my grandparents. He drove me back on a Sunday night to my house, right? To come back to my parents, right? My mom is watching from the window as my grandpa pulls over, gets me out of the backseat, and as he comes out right with me, the guy comes with a gun on my head, asking for the car keys.
Wow.
So that's the backstory to it.
Wow.
Shit.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, what
I
a
was
what a morbid way to. Yeah, go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, there you go.
Tell your story.
There you go, guys.
so my sister, known uh let's not say known drug addict, but she had her partaking. Uh Anywho, she had this ex-boyfriend who stole all my shit and her shit.
Oh my god.
Anyways, uh he broke the door in when I was home alone, and I was repeatedly telling my mom that he was trying to kick in the door, and my mom told me I couldn't call the cops because both my sister and her had active warrants out. So, great mother of the year for having zero worries about the protection of myself.
Yeah.
Um, so I go and hide in the kitchen holding a knife. I'm 12 years old, so I have no fucking clue. I'm a skinny 12-year-old. Like, I'm 6 foot tall, but I weighed like 100 pounds. So I'm literally skin and bones. Like, couldn't do anything if I wanted to. So I'm just like hovering in the fucking kitchen with a knife, and he eventually kicks the door in, and he has a gun, and he goes over to the kitchen, and he basically pointed it at my head, got really close in my face, and he was like, I want you to stay here, and if you move, I'm going to shoot you. And so he went into my room, stole all of my technology that I had, any like nice clothes I had were stolen, and then my sister came home and beat me because I let him break down the door.
Jesus.
Oh, that's adorable.
Jesus
Yeah, dude,
Christ.
it was so much fun.
Yeah, yours is far worse because you remember it. I don't remember
Yeah,
shit.
exactly.
The
That's
only
what I
one,
was gonna say. Yeah. No.
I don't remember it.
Yeah.
The
Wow.
only ones who remember was my grandpa, the RIP grandpa, and my mom. So, you know, I don't remember shit. Probably give
Jesus.
you some fucking trauma.
Oh, that's visceral.
Fucked
That.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's fucked up.
Yeah, that was when I stopped living with my mom. So
That was when you started getting into the
bonuses.
NFL.
True.
Yeah, yeah.
There's your
That was your
correlate.
camp chancellor.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
Dude,
That was his
you're
camp
not gonna
chancellor.
believe it.
Oh my god.
It's
Oh,
so much worse because the player that made me want to get invested in the NFL, because I watched college prior to
Aaron
watching the NFL. Like,
Hernandez.
I was more of a college fan.
There it is.
Kyler Murray, dude. I was a huge
Yeah.
Kyler Murray's the one that made me an NFL fan.
What if the Saints trade for him?
Please God, no.
Why?
I like winning.
Why?
I like winning.
uh,
Kyler doesn't do that in the NFL.
well, that was a wonderful, morbid end to the episode. I appreciate your story time, though, guys. That was both very sad and hysterical at the same time. So, yeah, appreciate the stories. But yeah, that's the end, folks. Again, the coastal call. We should do
Coastal call.
the coastal call, but a curtain call being like at the very end, what you said. So maybe a coastal call. We'll do a little brief story time every week if someone has a story to share. But yeah,
Sounds
anyway,
good, man.
I don't know, but anyway, that's it. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.